a player of the game Lord, was reborn to the day of its launch. Upon entering, I activated the 10,000 times amplification system, allowing me to multiply units, gear, and resources. Years later, when the game world merged with reality, I had already ascended to godhood. I, a player of the game Lord, was reborn to the day of its launch. Upon entering, I activated the 10,000 times amplification system, allowing me to multiply units, gear, and resources. Years later, when the game world merged with reality, I had already ascended to godhood. I woke up gasping in my bedroom, confused by my survival after being besieged by demon armies in my past life. A global announcement reminded players that the game, Lord, would launch at noon, with over 4 billion pre-registrations. The game was touted as the pinnacle of human ingenuity. With 99% realism, it combined war, exploration, and territory management, tasking players with recruiting units and exploring fog-covered lands. The developers promised players the thrill of conquest. I stared at my computer screen, my emotions complex. The date was April 25, 2025, the launch day. I realized I had been reborn. I marveled at my second chance, noting my poor history with the goddess of luck, whom I had once attacked. The game was destined to merge with Blue Star, bringing its dangers to reality. When the demonic armies arrived, humanity's conventional forces were helpless, leading to mass casualties. I recalled that within a week of the fusion, 80% of humanity perished, leaving only elite players under the protection of gods to survive. However, I sneered, determined to rely on my own strength rather than seeking divine protection. I aimed to rival the gods themselves. At 11:55, I donned my helmet and created my character, Night Demon, choosing the mage class for its infinite growth potential. As I waited for the launch, I was startled by warnings of an unknown system intrusion. A mechanical voice announced the activation of the 10,000 times amplification system. I was granted an SSS rank talent and teleported to the Lost Continent. The system welcomed me to the mysterious and challenging Lost Continent. As the first player to enter, I received an A-rank hero recruitment ticket and +1 luck. My system triggered, amplifying the rewards to an SSS rank hero recruitment ticket and +10,000 luck. I was stunned. SSS rank heroes were unheard of in my previous life. Heroes were vital, capable of equipping gear and learning skills. A powerful hero could single-handedly shift the tide of war. I recalled that in my past life, there were only 7 SS rank heroes, and no one had ever seen an SSS rank 1. The world chat erupted as other players logged in. Players were excited about the game's realism. A player named Long Outyin boasted of his arrival. Players discussed their unit draws and talents, ranging from C to B rank. I muted the noisy chat. I immediately used my golden recruitment ticket. A massive golden pillar of light descended upon my territory. I successfully recruited the SSS rank hero, Shadow Princess Vivian. A world announcement declared me the first to summon a hero, rewarding me with 1,000 gold, 5 reputation, and a golden equipment chest. The amplification system boosted these to 10 million gold, 50,000 reputation, and 10,000 golden equipment chests. Other players were shocked and jealous of the rewards. They speculated he had simply been lucky with a starter pack. They scrambled to understand the significance of an SSS rank hero. They marveled at the golden equipment rewards. Players flooded the chat, begging for his coordinates or trying to flirt. I realized the immense value of my gold, as currency was scarce in the early game. 1 gold coin was worth 20 dragon coins. I had effectively earned 200 million dragon coins. Reputation was equally crucial for interacting with powerful NPCs. I turned my attention to my new hero. Vivian appeared, mounted on a spectral warhorse shrouded in gray mist. She was a petite figure, her features obscured by the mysterious fog. She dismounted and performed a flawless aristocratic bow. As the mist dissipated, I finally saw her face. The girl wore form-fitting armor, her skin deathly pale, her face doll-like, and her eyes like rubies. I frowned, puzzled. I knew the Shadow Realm from my past life, but never heard of a Shadow Princess. I checked her stats. Description: a powerful Shadow Knight from the Shadow Realm. Class: Shadow Knight. Level: 1. Rank: SSS. HP: 100,000. MP: 60,000 shadow energy, ATK, 2,200 def, 850. Skill, Shadow Slash, LV1, deals 10x ATK as shadow damage in a line. Skill, Summon Terror Nightmare, LVMAX, summons a legendary mount. Despite having only 2 skills, her stats, especially the 100k HP and 2,200 ATK, surpass crown tier units. Unlike standard units, heroes can grow infinitely, unlocking more skills and higher stats as they level up. With the 10,000 times amplification system, her growth will be explosive. I greeted her, Shadow Princess Vivian. She smiled silently, and I decided to wait and observe. I opened my inventory, revealing 2 gift packs and a glowing green totem. I took out the glowing totem. Description: a totem gifted by the goddess of wind to the wind element tribe, brimming with wind energy. Rank: Mythical, Tier 6. Type: Unit Equipment, Level 1. Stats: plus 1,000% movement speed, plus 1,000% attack speed. I was stunned. A 10x multiplier to speed and attack was absurdly powerful. It was a true mythical grade item from a deity. In this simulation game, mobility is everything. 10x speed allows for terrifying maneuvers and boosts damage for charge-based cavalry. Usually, units require long distances to build up momentum for maximum impact. For me, this is effortless. The 10x attack speed effectively increases total DPS tenfold, making even Tier 1 trash units formidable. Combined with the speed, ranged units become masters of kiting. I returned the totem to my inventory and checked the 2 gift packs meant for early game progression. One pack provides basic resources for building and recruitment. I opened the unit pack. A golden light erupted. Triggered 10,000 times amplification. Obtained 100x flame sharpshooter recruitment permission. Suddenly, 100 elves in red leather armor appeared, equipped with flaming bows. They were Tier 10 units, legendary status, far exceeding the usual Tier 3 units. The system had upgraded Tier 3 fodder into Tier 10 powerhouses. Tier 10 units are elite forces even in the late game. In the early game, other players couldn't even scratch their armor. Furthermore, I gained the recruitment permission. While units can be traded, recruitment permissions are priceless. Permissions are rare and highly sought after. They allow for the construction of recruitment buildings to produce units indefinitely. Unlike buying units, which are finite, I can now produce my own. I checked their stats. Description: elite rangers from the Forest of Elves, masters of fire magic. Level 1. ATK 440 to 460. Def 176. Rank: Tier 10. HP 15,000. Skill: Sure Hit, LVMX. Attacks ignore evasion and stealth. Skill: Flame Burn, LV1. Attacks deal fire damage. On kill, deals 2.5x ATK fire damage to 10 nearby enemies. Skill: Flame Arrow Rain, LV1. Deals 10x ATK fire damage to 100 enemies. Cooldown: 5 minutes. Morale/loyalty: 200. Food consumption: 1,000/day. I finished reviewing the stats. An exceptional Tier 10 unit, top tier even among its peers. I nodded in satisfaction. Their base attack of 440 at level 1 was impressive. The inclusion of AoE skills made them incredibly rare and valuable. Such units could single-handedly transform a player's game experience. I recalled a public secret realm in the Forest of Eternal Night that dropped a Tier 4 unit with AoE. It was a highly coveted unit. Every expert guide recommended grinding that realm. Many players spent months without success. It took me a week in my past life. I closed the panel and opened the second pack. I opened the resource pack. Triggered 10,000 times amplification. Obtained 1 million wood, stone, iron, and food. I was shocked by the sheer volume of resources. 1 million of each resource. In the early game, gathering resources is usually a grueling, slow process. Resource points are categorized by rarity: common, black iron, silver, gold, diamond, epic, legendary, mythical, and immortal. Lords must dispatch troops to harvest discovered resource points. Gathering 1 million resources would take an average lord at least a month. I started with this amount. With my rebirth advantage, I was confident I could reach unprecedented heights. I checked my character panel. Level 1, Human, Apprentice Mage, 1000 HP, Stats, 1000 MP, 20 ATK, 10 DF, 10 STR, 10 CON, 10 AGI, 10 INT, 10 SPR. My stats were those of a standard, mediocre mage. However, my past life memories contained countless methods to acquire powerful classes. Territory status. Level 1. No guild. 100 200s population. 200 tiles. 1 tile. /day growth. No walls. Buildings. Lord's Hall. LV1. Troops. 100 flame sharpshooters. Tier 10. Resources. 1 M each of wood, stone, iron, food. Upgrade requirements. 500 of each basic resource. Threats. 2 wolf territories, 1 forest bandit camp. The territory was bare, consisting only of the fragile Lord's Hall with 100 durability. I named my territory and decided to prioritize upgrading the hall immediately. Upgrading requires resources, with Lord quests required every 10 levels to unlock the next tier. I rapidly consumed resources to boost my territory to level 10, hitting the current cap. Territory level 10, 2000 population capacity, 2000 tiles. Growth, 10 tiles/day. Buildings, Lord's Hall, LV10. Troops, 100 flame sharpshooters. Resources, 970k each of wood, stone, iron, 1 M food. Upgrade requirements, 100k of each resource plus quest completion. Threats remained unchanged. The territory had expanded significantly. Population capacity reached 2,000. I marveled at the 10,000 times amplification system. Normal lords would take days to reach this level. I checked the Lord quest. Quest, prove your worth. Difficulty, 300,000. Objective, kill 300,000 units. Reward, unlock level cap. I pondered the requirement. In my past life, the first tier quest only required 1,000 kills. The system clearly scaled difficulty based on player strength. For others, this would be an impossible bottleneck. With a 2,000 population cap, killing 300,000 units would normally take an eternity. For me, however, it was manageable. I opened the game mall, which sold powerful, limited edition items. I knew these items were globally unique and would vanish once sold out. Since the currency exchange system wasn't active yet, other players couldn't afford these items, but I had my starting resources. Mall inventory, troop refresh card, troop recruitment card, building speed up card, 50 gold each. Resource collection card, 50 gold, heart of slaughter, 1 meter gold. These functional items were only available early on. I was shocked to see the mythical grade heart of slaughter. In my past life, a player named Wangyang Dahai bought it after the mall was cleared of everything else. Most players ignored it, fearing it was a scam or useless due to the lack of description. They were waiting for someone else to test it. Wangyang Dahai used it to become one of the top 3 lords in the Dragon Kingdom. I recalled that cards were capped at 10,000 units each. The Heart of Slaughter was globally unique. I purchased everything. I earned the gold grade title Tycoon for spending 3 meter gold. The 10,000 times amplification triggered, granting me the legendary title Spendthrift. The mall was now sold out. Other players noticed this sold out status and panicked, accusing others of hacking or exploiting bugs. I ignored the chaotic chat channels and checked my inventory. Troop Refresh Card resets recruitment limits for buildings. Troop Recruitment Card instantly completes ongoing recruitment. Building Speed Up Card instantly completes construction. Resource Collection Card instantly grants a full day's harvest from a resource point. These cards were essential for rapid army expansion, bypassing the long wait times for high-tier troops. Rare buildings often took weeks to construct. The Speed Up and Resource cards would save me massive amounts of time. Using Resource Collection cards daily effectively doubles the yield from every resource node. With these 4 cards, my development will skyrocket. I proceed to inspect my attributes. Damaged artifact. Rumored to have been created at the dawn of time, it was shattered during the War of the Gods 30,000 years ago. Countless attempts to repair it have failed. Grade, Mythical, Tier 1. Type, Hero Equipment, Lord only. Level, 1. Effect, all units deal 200% true damage. 3. All units gain kill value upon defeating enemies. Repair progress. Kill value 0/1 billion. Author's note. New book. Please be patient. This is an Invincible-style Lord novel. The protagonist starts at the peak. I dislike stories that claim to be invincible but constantly restrict the protagonist. With 10,000 times amplification, why struggle with other players? Here, the protagonist is simply overpowered. Great gear, elite troops, and powerful skills. Readers want a satisfying experience. Logic and data might be less rigorous than in hardcore simulation novels, but the focus is on the cool factor. Corrections are welcome. I originally planned a D&D setting. The site encourages original content, so I modified the setting. D&D purists, please don't overthink it. Regarding the update schedule for the new book period, 5 chapters daily, approximately 2,000 words each, totaling 10,000 words per day. Bonuses, 1 extra chapter per 2,000 flowers, 300 rating votes, any donation, or 10 valid comments. I hope you support this niche genre. My eyes narrowed as I read the Heart of Slaughter's attributes. A true artifact. The stats are simple yet brutal. If it's this powerful while damaged, imagine it fully repaired. True damage is overpowered in any game, including this one. It ignores all enemy defense, dealing direct damage. In this world, many units are specialized tanks. These tanks rely on massive HP pools or high armor and damage reduction skills. Normal players struggle to break their defense, but I have no such issue. With my flame sharpshooter's tenfold attack speed, these defenses are meaningless. The synergy is exponential. Putting the Heart of Slaughter away, I check my new title. Grade, Hidden Unique. Effect, 20% discount at all shops, stackable with other bonuses. This is excellent for saving resources across the Lost Continent's various trade systems. I then open the construction panel. Consumed 1,000 wood/stone to build, building 1. Consumed 100k wood/stone/iron to build, building 2. Consumed 10k wood/stone to build, building 3. Consumed 10k wood/stone to build, building 4. Consumed 1,000 wood/stone to build, building 5. Foundations for all 5 buildings instantly appeared in the territory. I use construction acceleration cards to finish them instantly. These include the basic recruitment center, the flame shooting range for flame sharpshooters, a warehouse, a kitchen, and a hero altar. The warehouse prevents food spoilage. The kitchen processes raw food. The altar recruits and revives heroes. Unlike me, normal players must rely on the altar for heroes instead of using summoning tickets. I open the flame shooting range interface. Description: a place for elves to train archery and fire magic. Level 1. Daily output 0/200. Unit: flame sharpshooter, tier 10. Cost: 2,000 gold. Time: 2 minutes. Upgrade cost: 10k wood/stone/iron. I upgrade it to level 10. It now recruits 2,000 units daily with a 30-second cooldown. IQ 1,900 units for 3.8 million gold. The range erupts in flames as silhouettes train within. I use a recruitment card to finish production instantly. A group of red-clad elven archers emerges, looking at me with curiosity. I organize them into the Divine Realm 1st Archer Regiment, under Vivian's command. The map coordinates differ from my past life, indicating I am in unfamiliar territory. However, I spot a landmark, a massive, snow-covered mountain. To the west lies the Evernight Forest. I'm on the west side of the forest, unlike my past life. No problem. Author's note. First chapter today. Please support the book. I won't abandon it. 3 minutes after launch, I have an SSS rank hero and 2,000 tier 10 troops. I am already far ahead of all other players. Professional players and major factions are left in the dust. Exploration is vital for leveling, resources, chests, and hidden NPC quests. In my past life, a player named Ling Longxin triggered a hidden quest chain and became a top lord of the Dragon Kingdom. I plan to clear the surroundings, then head to the Evernight Forest for its resources, secret realms, and the path to the underground. The Lost Continent holds vast civilizations beneath the surface. Underground creatures are mostly evil faction, red name, monsters that attack on sight. Danger brings opportunity, though I lacked this knowledge in my past life. By the time this information hit the forums, it was far too late to capitalize on it. I finalized my tactical layout in my mind. I turned to Vivian. Let's clear the nearby wild monsters and explore the surroundings. Vivian agreed, mounting her terror nightmare. She paused, blushing, and offered her hand to me. As a sentient hero, she felt genuine shyness. I took her hand and mounted behind her. Her terror nightmare, a legendary mount, possessed two traits: immortality and shadow realm life-sharing, plus the ability to fly. I wrapped my arms around her waist as we rode toward the red dots on the map. 3 camps, 2 wolf, 1 bandit, marked the territory. Arriving at the first wolf camp, I used my scout spell on the dozens of bloodthirsty, gray forest wolves. The camp was starving and aggressive toward all living things. It contained 1,650 tier 2 forest wolves and 335 tier 3 wolf leaders, a notorious newbie killer. Their small numbers often deceived beginners into underestimating them. However, they possessed a critical strike aura and gained attack speed as their numbers dwindled. Standard tier 1 troops would be wiped out without triple the numbers, but for me, they were trivial. I ordered my archers to fire. Flaming arrows rained down, dealing massive damage. Hundreds of wolves fell instantly, triggering a chain reaction of fire that engulfed the rest. The system logged the kills, with the 10,000 times amplification system boosting my troops' experience gain to 200,000 points. My troops leveled up rapidly, reaching tier 2 and 3 in moments. Every kill also granted kill value, which was amplified to 10,000 points per unit. I was stunned. Even experience was amplified, making my leveling speed incomparable. My elves grew stronger, their stats rising with every level. At this rate, they would soon rival crown tier units. Heroes and lords also received a percentage of experience. Vivian's bar hit 82%. As an SSS rank hero, her experience requirements were exponentially higher than others. My own level surged as well. The amplification was overpowered, especially since lord leveling was notoriously difficult. The Heart of Slaughter's value also skyrocketed, promising a quick repair. As the last wolf died, the system chimed. I received standard rewards of gold, wood, and food. The amplification system boosted these to 200,000 units each. Resources flooded in, making my past struggles seem pathetic. Vivian suddenly pointed out a treasure chest. They approached a chest glowing with silver light. My high luck had turned a trashy camp into a source for a silver-grade chest. I opened it immediately. The base reward was gold and a silver-grade flame bomb. Amplification turned it into 100,000 gold and a legendary-grade doomsday bomb. I retrieved the terrifying orb from my inventory. It was a masterpiece by a legendary archmage. It dealt 1 trillion fire damage within a 10,000 grid radius, excluding immortal-grade units. The amplification had turned a mediocre chest into a weapon of mass destruction. I recalled rumors of this bomb from my past life. Created by mad archmages who died from mana exhaustion, a single bomb had once obliterated a fully fortified diamond-grade city during a guild war. Stowing the bomb, I moved to the remaining camps. Within 30 minutes, the other camps were cleared. Vivian then spotted a hidden resource point. I praised her sharp eyes, causing her to blush. I used my scout spell, and the system confirmed an epic-grade resource point, a rare find that would make any guild desperate. It supported 2,000 workers with a daily output of 2 million resources. Normally, units could only transport 1 resource per second, making this site incredibly valuable. I ordered my flame sharpshooters to move 2,000 units of gold. As they worked, I realized I needed specialized labor like goblins or Durgar. I used a card to instantly harvest 2 million gold coins. These store-bought cards are game-breaking, providing extra income independent of daily resource yields, with higher-level nodes granting even more. I ordered the elves to forage while I ate a goo chicken in the canteen. Goo chicken is the most delicious meat in the Lost Continent. Once my troops were fed, I prepared to march into the Evernight Forest. Despite the one-day beginner protection period, I sought greater rewards than those found near my territory. With my 10x movement speed buff and the high-agility flame sharpshooters, we traveled rapidly. An hour later, the surroundings grew dim. The sun vanished, replaced by a cold, silver moon. Moonlight bathed the forest in a silver glow as the system chimed. Ding! You are the first player to discover this area. Reward, Prestige +1. Ding. 10,000 times amplification triggered. Prestige plus 10,000. The Evernight Forest is dangerous, notorious for claiming many players' first lives. I checked my map, aiming to hunt bosses for first kill rewards. I soon encountered thousands of Tier 3, Level 5 zombies, villagers infected by the poison cult. Their infection skill is lethal, requiring holy water or execution to prevent turning. To me, they were merely experience fodder. I commanded, Vivian, use flame rain to clear them. Vivian obeyed, launching a dense net of flaming arrows. The arrows descended like rain. The zombies were incinerated instantly upon impact. The flame sharpshooter's flame burn ability proved devastating. Each kill triggered a chain reaction, spreading fire to surrounding zombies. The efficiency was ruthless, accompanied by a barrage of system notifications. Ding. Troops killed 1,000. Experience plus 300. Amplification triggered. 3 million XP gained. You received 30,000 XP. I leveled up to 10, hitting the cap. My troops neared max level, and Vivian reached level 9. As a lord, my greatest asset is automatic resurrection. I can respawn indefinitely as long as my Lord's Hall stands. Its destruction means starting over. Ignoring my character panel, I continued the slaughter. After 20 minutes, the area was clear. My Lord quest progress reached 12,751/300,000, and the Heart of Slaughter repair hit 117.51 million/1 billion. Seeking faster gains, I headed toward a marked red dot on my map. I encountered hundreds of green, bloated zombies. These were reinforced variants with superior stats. They were Tier 4, Level 10, equipped with black iron gear for defense. Defense was irrelevant to me. At the center stood a 3-meter-tall behemoth. It was bloated, leaking toxic green gas from holes in its torso. I used my detection spell. It was a gold-grade poison zombie king, Level 10. It boasted 20 million HP, 1,500 attack, and 230 defense, with skills like Toxic Infection and Death Pounce. In my past life, this boss required hundreds of players to defeat. Now, it was paper thin. As the zombies charged, I ordered, Flame Rain, release. The night sky lit up as the firestorm engulfed the horde. Damage numbers in the tens of thousands flashed. Ding. Troops killed the boss. Experience plus 100,000. Ding. Amplification triggered. 1 billion XP gained. You received 10 million XP. Ding. Your level has reached 80 max. World announcement. Player Night Demon is the first to kill a gold grade boss. Reward. Gold grade equipment gift box X1. Luck +1. Prestige +1. Ding. Amplification triggered. Legendary grade equipment gift box X1. Luck plus 10,000. Prestige plus 10,000. Ding. Hero level reached 15. New skill learned. The world announcement echoed 3 times, stunning the player base. WTF? Night Demon is insane. I can't even beat a wolf, and he's killing bosses. Night Demon is a legend. How is the gap between us so huge? Just luck. I've never heard of this Night Demon among our top players. The chat exploded. While ordinary players were jealous, professional gamers and major factions were deeply unsettled. Many pros felt they were ahead after clearing local mobs and securing resource nodes. This announcement was a slap in the face, leaving guild leaders filled with doubt and concern. Who is this Night Demon? Is he a top player using an alt account? I was stunned by the system rewards. I hadn't expected such generous spoils from a single gold tier boss. Massive experience points instantly leveled 2,000 flame sharpshooters to level 80. This was truly absurd. In my past life, leveling legendary units took weeks. With max levels, the flame sharpshooters gained 1,260 attack power, rivaling a level 1 crown tier unit. I calculated 1,260 attack, doubled by Heart of Slaughter, plus 10 times attack speed. That's 25,000 output per second. With 2,000 units, that's 50 million damage per second, a figure unreachable even in the mid-game. Additionally, I gained 10,000 luck. Low-luck players suffer from no critical hits, constant accidents, and rebellious units. High-luck players thrive, opening top-tier loot. I now have 20,000 luck. Vivian also reached level 15, unlocking a new skill. I checked her new skill, Shadow Mist, LV Max. Effect: Vivian uses Shadow Realm energy to cloak herself and her troops. Units below Immortal grade cannot detect them. The mist dissipates upon attacking. I was impressed. A perfect stealth skill. We can sneak right to the enemy's doorstep. This skill could shift the tide of any battle. It will be invaluable in future wars. I then opened my gift box. I triggered 10,000 times amplification, obtaining a blue ring glowing with divine light. Item: Ring of the Goddess of Magic, infused with her divine power and merged with the magic network. Grade: Legendary, Tier 5. Type: Hero Equipment. Level: 10. Stats: 1. Max Magic plus 200%. 2. 10% Mana Recovery per second. A Tier 5 Legendary item. Even low-level Legendary gear is powerful, and this was amplified from a Tier 3 base. It is a mage's artifact. I decided to give it to Vivian. She asked, "Lord for me?" I nodded. Though I am a mage, my current stats are too weak to utilize it effectively. Besides, my hero's gear is effectively my own. I can reclaim it later. Vivian smiled beautifully at my confirmation. "My first gift from you. I will cherish it, Lord." She held out her hand. "Will you put it on for me?" I sighed, thinking of the tactical benefits of her increased shadow mist range, and slid the ring onto her finger. I then turned my focus to my pending class advancement. Author's note: 5 chapters today. Thanks for the support. Author's note: data is low, but I will keep going. Returning to the present, I looked at the boss's remains. The body was ash, but loot lay scattered about. I collected the items: 324 gold and 5 virus samples. Amplification triggered: 3.24 million gold and 50,000 virus samples. Amplification triggered: Plague Plate Armor, Epic. Amplification triggered: Bloated Helmet, Epic. I raised an eyebrow at the haul. The armor was level 10 epic gear for warriors, useless to me. It was also ugly. Vivian wrinkled her nose at it. I stashed them away and examined the virus samples. I realized these were key items for a hidden quest. I checked the item description. Description: data on mutated villagers, valuable for crafting an antidote. The Temple of Light is collecting them. A quest item. I recalled a Church of Light stronghold in the Evernight Forest. I headed there to trigger the quest. Half an hour later, I arrived at a small fortress surrounded by white walls. I used Scout. Description: walls reinforced by Church of Light bishops. Level 100. Grade: Epic. Durability: 500 billion. The Church of Light was wealthy, but their reliance on these walls made them complacent. This complacency would eventually lead to the total annihilation of the stronghold by the Dark Army. The small fortress before me would soon become a cradle for evil. Halt! Paladins on horseback intercepted me and my troops. "This is the Church of Light. Outsiders are forbidden." I replied, "I am a lord from another world." The paladins were skeptical. Lords had only arrived hours ago. They eyed my elven sharpshooters. The sharp, lethal aura radiating from the elves proved they were no fragile maidens. A paladin asked, "Lord from another world, what is your business?" "I have 50,000 virus samples to submit." The paladin's eyes lit up, and he escorted me into the fortress where paladins were training. I met a tall man named Oraid. I recognized Oraid as a future gold-tier boss, a zombified version that had been notoriously difficult to defeat in my past life. Currently, however, Oraid was a loyal, steadfast paladin. Oraid nodded. "You brought the virus samples?" "Yes, 50,000, I stated. Oraid's eyes widened in shock. "Recovering," Oraid said. "Very well, brave adventurer. You may claim your reward." I submitted the samples. The system granted 50,000 contribution points, which triggered 10,000 times amplification, resulting in 500 million points. I was stunned. Such points were usually only earned through arduous quests or holy war kills. Contribution points were earned via church quests or killing enemies in the holy war. Submission counted as a quest. I hadn't realized these samples could be exchanged for such massive rewards. Contribution points were vital for buying gear, units, and god-granted titles. These titles, Knight, Baron, Viscount, Count, Marquis, Duke, were recognized across the Lost Continent and granted high status. Most importantly, These titles allowed one to command church forces. A knight commanded 100 paladins, a baron led small battles, and a viscount managed a branch temple. Higher ranks were unknown, as no one had reached Marquis. I asked Oraid to exchange my points for a title. Oraid had served for 10 years and only attained the rank of knight. Skeptical, Oraid asked, "How many points do you have?" 500 million. Oraid's jaw dropped. Nearby paladins froze, one dropping his sword in disbelief. Oraid warned, "Young lord, I hope you aren't lying, or the god of light will punish you." I replied impatiently, "Can you exchange it or not?" Oraid admitted, "Regulations state I can only grant a title up to my own rank. I can only make you a knight." I agreed. The system deducted 10 million points and promoted me to knight. A world announcement declared, Dragon Kingdom player Knight Demon is the first to earn a god-granted title, receiving 10 reputation. The 10,000 times amplification boosted this to 100,000 reputation. Players worldwide were shocked that Knight Demon had triggered another world announcement. While Chinese players cheered, foreign players were outraged. Eagle Kingdom players claimed Knight Demon was cheating, boasting that their Eve was superior. They demanded the official servers ban Knight Demon. 371. Empty/filler. The Eagle Kingdom, accustomed to being top-ranked, could not accept this. In their top guild, a red-haired girl watched with interest. Meanwhile, other nations began investigating me, with Japan and the Universe Kingdom placing a bounty on my head. I ignored the chaos as a holy light descended, blessing me. As a knight, I gained privileges, unlimited quest access. I could call for help against threats, get 10% discounts at the church shop, command 100 troops, and issue up to B-rank quests to other players. I had ignored titles in my past life, focusing only on gear. These perks were powerful, especially the ability to turn other players into my own employees by issuing quests. I was satisfied and turned to Oraid for a briefing. Now that we held equal rank, Oraid had no reason to refuse. Oraid hoped a fellow knight would make his mission easier. Oraid explained, "A week ago, zombies appeared in the Evernight Forest. Our investigation team was wiped out. We found arrows used by dark elves. We suspect the goddess of poison is involved. Many paladins have been infected. Mages are working on a cure." I realized this was a hidden quest chain leading to the goddess of poison. I demanded the mission documents. I scoffed. "Can you even hold this position? With the dark elves and Doris involved, how long can your troops last?" Oraid, realizing the strength of my forces, begrudgingly handed over the documents. "Very well, Knight Demon Knight," he sighed, handing over a parchment. "I shall wait here until you investigate." As I took the parchment, the system chimed. SSS rank quest received. I opened my quest panel. Quest: investigate the source of the zombie plague emerging in the Evernight Forest. Difficulty: 2 million. Reward: unknown. My eyes narrowed. 1 million difficulty quest usually implied an epic grade boss or higher. The trail led underground. I assessed my current forces: 2 knights and 3,600 tier 4 paladins. Defenses included an epic grade city wall, various training facilities, and 120,000 food supplies. The stronghold was poorly stocked and undermanned. Paladins approached, offering their assistance. I declined, noting I could only command 100 of them anyway. "Stay here and guard the post." They were only tier 4 units, dead weight. I left the stronghold. Vivian waited outside, her anxiety vanishing upon seeing me. "Move out. Target the underground," I ordered. We marched toward the northwest of the Evernight Forest, clearing zombies along the way until we reached a long-abandoned, collapsed shack. Vivian shattered the heavy stone slab in the backyard. Beneath lay a dark, 2-meter-wide tunnel. I led my army down into the depths for over half an hour. Discovery: Underground World. Reward: 100 reputation. 10,000 times amplification triggered. 1 million reputation gained. Warning: hostile creatures inhabit this realm. Proceed with caution. I surveyed the dark, cavernous expanse. I had returned to this hellish place, beneath thick layers of rock. Glowing crystals provided dim light. I ordered Vivian to cast Shadow Mist, cloaking the army from all but the most powerful immortal-grade entities. "Since I'm here," I grinned, "I might as well complete the Lord quest." We soon encountered a medium-sized goblin tribe. I used my scout spell. The tribe consisted of 632,000 Tier 3 goblin warriors, 125,000 Tier 4 miners, and 23,000 Tier 6 throwers. Nearly 800,000 enemies. No ordinary player could handle this, especially not on day one. Underground buffs boosted these creatures by a full tier. The Tier 6 throwers, armed with explosive AoE bombs, were a nightmare for players. I ordered an immediate strike. Vivian signaled the elven sharpshooters, whose flaming arrows illuminated the cavern. Kills, 1,000. Experience, 300. Amplification triggered, 3 million experience gained. Experience overflowed, maxing out my unit's levels. Phase 1 restoration complete. It was a massacre. The elven sharpshooters fired with terrifying speed, turning the goblin resistance into a slaughter. I checked the Heart of Slaughter. Item, Heart of Slaughter, damaged. Grade, Mythic, Tier 2. Type, Hero Equipment. Effect, 225% true damage. Kills grant kill value. Restoration progress, 0.5 billion. I realized the artifact required further restoration. A normal player would need 1 billion kills for the first phase. The second phase required 2 billion. With my system, I would complete this quickly. The battle ended in 30 minutes. Vivian's sword energy decimated the remaining Tier 6 throwers. With the tribe wiped out, the system announced my promotion. World announcement. First player to become a Tier 1 Lord. Reward, 1,000 gold, 10 territory expansion tickets. Amplification triggered, 10 million gold, 100,000 expansion tickets. Phase 2 and 3 restoration complete. Hero level maxed. Please perform limit break. Players were becoming desensitized to the constant announcements. Of course it's Night Demon, they muttered. The Eagle Kingdom players thought they had a chance. What a joke. I can't even mine iron, and he's already a Tier 1 Lord. How? Night Demon, please carry us. This game is too hard. Even basic mobs are a struggle. Exactly. We'll be your lackeys. Just take us to the top. Unlike casual players, professionals were stunned. They finally realized the massive gap between them and me. Reaching Tier 1 meant a level 10 territory, a resource feat they couldn't possibly match today. The gap was insurmountable. The system notifications rang in my ears for a full minute. In under 30 minutes, I slaughtered hundreds of thousands of goblins. My experience points maxed out, and Vivian reached her level cap, requiring a limit break. Limit breaks require rank break stones, special materials, or specific quests. These stones are mostly sold by major factions like the Church of Light. I muttered, looks like I need to head to the main city once this mission ends. The Heart of Slaughter underwent 2 more phases of restoration, becoming a Tier 4 mythic item. Its true damage bonus reached 300%. I was shocked. A 300% true damage boost for all units. This was truly an immortal artifact. However, further restoration now required 1 trillion kill value. This meant killing 1 billion units, even with the 10,000 times amplification. I was certain no player in my past life had completed these restoration phases. Without the 10,000 times amplification, it would require killing 1 trillion units, an impossible task. But for me, it was plausible. I then checked a new card. It increased territory expansion speed by 100x for 24 hours. Territory usually expands only through leveling up or slow, automatic growth. Automatic expansion is notoriously slow. This speed-up coupon would drastically accelerate my territory's growth. At 100x speed, my territory would soon dwarf all other players combined. Next was an epic title. Description: records your glorious deeds against evil. Those of the evil faction will tremble before you. Rank: unique hidden. Effect: 50% damage bonus against all evil faction units. I was stunned. This epic title was incredibly powerful. Percentage-based damage boosters are rare and priceless. This title granted a 50% boost against the evil faction, the primary antagonist in the Lost Continent's future updates. While some players might join the evil faction, I had no such intentions. I wasn't a saint. Since my rebirth, my only goal was to become stronger. Morality was irrelevant. I looked at the goblin tribe, now filled with corpses and stench. Vivian approached on her terror nightmare. Lord, some goblins wished to surrender. I wasn't surprised. Shamelessness was the goblin way. Thousands of cowering goblins emerged from the tunnels. The system chimed. 36,540 goblins and 12,038 goblin miners wish to join your territory. Accept? I pondered. Goblin warriors were trash-tier units. Goblin miners were mid-tier with useful gathering bonuses. With my population cap set to rise to 22,000 at level 20, accepting them all would exceed my limits. I ordered, Vivian, execute the warriors. We'll keep the miners. Vivian obeyed instantly. Fire. Arrows rained down. The system confirmed the kills and noted my population limit was reached. You cleared a medium goblin tribe. Rewards: 470k gold, 200k wood, 1.43 m stone, 5.06 m iron, 2.04 m food. 10,000 times amplification triggered. Rewards: 4.7 billion gold, 2 billion wood, 14.3 billion stone, 50.6 billion iron, 20.4 billion food. A single medium tribe yielded billions in resources. The 50.6 billion iron was particularly valuable for the early game. War was indeed the fastest way to wealth. After questioning the miners, I learned of a massive dark elf city 10 kilometers away, currently building an altar that required vast amounts of iron. I ordered my troops to march toward the altar. The altar radiated dark energy, surrounded by human skulls. Dark-robed figures filled the area, but in the shadows, a few figures stood out, their holy aura clashing with the dark environment. A girl gripped her staff, whispering, "Stopping them and saving the goddess depends on us. As you command, Saintess." Suddenly, I halted my troops, feeling a cold, moonlight-like presence in my soul. I demanded, "Who's there?" A soft, whispering female voice echoed in my mind. "Hero from another world, will you save my believers? I will grant you a rich reward." I frowned. "Goddess, are you deaf?" The voice fell silent, shocked by my insolence. In the Lost Continent, gods were worshipped by all. This level 10 lord dared to be rude? Yet, she had no other choice to save her followers. Suppressing her anger, she replied, "Lord of another world, I am the Moon Dance Maiden, Stephanie." My eyes narrowed. Stephanie, known as the Moon Dance Maiden, is a key figure in the future. As the only benevolent deity among the Dark Elves, she advocates harmony. 2 years later, when the Dark Goddess unites evil factions to invade the surface, the good faction will fall due to internal suspicion, leaving Stephanie to sacrifice herself to save the surface armies. Stephanie burned her life force to destroy the Dark Goddess's base, buying the surface forces time. She became a fan-favorite goddess years later, but currently, I recall her dire situation. Betrayed by the goddess of poison, she is severely wounded and trapped within her divine kingdom. She has also lost contact with her followers. When I asked how she found me, Stephanie replied, "I am communicating with you through the Shadow Realm." I, currently shrouded in Vivian's mist, which connects to the Shadow Realm, decided to assist her for the sake of respect and potential rewards. I accepted the SSS rank quest. The quest requires saving the Moon Dance Maiden's followers. This unique hidden quest has a difficulty of 1 million. The goal is to keep at least 50 followers alive, with rewards including 10,000 gold and the Moon Dance Maiden's blessing. I was surprised. S-rank quests are rare, yet I had received 2 in 1 day. The tasks overlap, making completion efficient. While the gold is trivial to me, the divine blessing is rare and powerful. Vivian alerted me to a large structure ahead. I identified it as the goddess of poison's altar, surrounded by human skulls and guarded by level 15 Dark Elf scouts. A system notification indicated the followers were under attack, with 104 remaining. The count dropped to 102. With the survival threshold at 50, I ordered an immediate assault. My goblins acted as bait, while my elves unleashed flame arrow rain, incinerating the scouts. I pushed directly into the altar. Speed was critical. I used the totem's movement buff to accelerate my elves. I ignored the goblins, treating them as expendable. The Dark Elves watched in disbelief as my forces vanished into the altar. They were stunned by the elves' speed. Within a minute, I heard combat, a group of Dark Elves surrounded by green-robed enemies. Recognizing them, I ordered Vivian to cast Flame Arrow Rain. The attack decimated the enemies. The female Dark Elves, sensing Stephanie's aura on me, were overjoyed, having been cut off from their goddess for months. They had been on a suicide mission against the cult of poison. I, annoyed by their chatter, ordered my goblins to engage the remaining enemies while I demanded to speak to their leader. A pale, weak-looking girl approached, identifying herself as Ina, the saintess of the moon dance cult. I told her to keep her people safe. Ina complied. I was relieved. 83 followers remained, and I had arrived just in time. Suddenly, a sinister voice echoed from the altar's depths, threatening me for interfering with the ritual. Author's note: corrections made regarding Tier 3 units. Today includes 6 chapters total. 3 black-robed figures emerged with an elite army. I used my scout spell to reveal their details. The leader is a legendary, Tier 1, boss, level 20, with 100 million HP and high attack stats. Skills include Poison Hand, high-level poison resistance, and Death Poison Mist. The army consists of 130,000 Tier 7 Poison Rangers and 13,000 Tier 8 Poison Priests. The boss is supported by 2 level 20 epic bosses. This force is formidable for the early game. However, I had no intention of fleeing. I realized these bosses were fodder. They were artificially empowered by the goddess of poison's drugs. They suffer from low stats, short lifespans, and poor quality compared to genuine legendary entities. The cult of poison produces many such bosses, but they lack true strength. A real legendary powerhouse could easily defeat 100 of these fakes. The boss released a green mist, granting his troops an extra 2,000 poison damage per hit. The boss offered me a mid-level management position in exchange for my loyalty. The system prompted me to join the evil faction. Joining would mean losing my nobility title in the Temple of Light. I was amused. I had no interest in abandoning my position for a failing cult. Feigning interest, I replied, I might consider it, causing the bosses to brighten at the prospect of gaining my elite troops. The followers of Stephanie grew anxious. I hesitated, seemingly considering the offer. I then scoffed. Doris is too ugly. I'll pass. The bosses were enraged, shouting, You dare insult the goddess? You're courting death. I narrowed my eyes and ordered my archers to attack. Flaming arrows rained down. With 10 times attack speed, the elves moved like blurs. The legendary boss's health plummeted by half in a second, catching him off guard. He raised his staff to cast a spell, a progress bar appearing above his ID. I was stunned by the boss's foolish decision to channel a spell under such fire. A second later, the boss was dead. System: your troops killed the boss, gaining 100 million EXP. 10,000 times amplification triggered. You gained 1 trillion EXP. You received 10 billion EXP. Your level has reached the cap. EXP is overflowing. World announcement: Dragon Kingdom player is the first to kill a legendary boss. Reward: exquisite gift box, legendary, X1, prestige plus 100. 10,000 times amplification triggered. Reward: exquisite gift box, mythical, X1, prestige plus 1 million. Stephanie's followers were stunned. The boss had been instantly obliterated. I ignored the rewards and ordered my elves to target the remaining 2 epic bosses. These bosses had lower stats and roughly 20 million HP each. Seeing the legendary boss's fate, they fled into the crowd. They hid among their troops to avoid focus fire, but I only smirked. I ordered my elves to focus on one boss, knowing their skills guaranteed hits within range. Arrows swarmed the target, consuming him instantly. Your troops killed the boss, gaining 10 million EXP. 10,000 times amplification triggered. You gained 100 billion EXP. You received 1 billion EXP. World announcement: Dragon Kingdom player is the first to kill an epic boss. Reward: exquisite gift box, epic, X1, prestige plus 10. 10,000 times amplification triggered. Reward: exquisite gift box, legendary, X1, prestige plus 100,000. The epic boss fell. I turned to the final survivor. The panicked boss ordered his legion to attack and threw a potion on the ground. Dark green smoke enveloped the battlefield. Item: high-level smoke bomb from the Temple of Poison. Effect: deals 10k poison damage per second to enemies. grants 80% evasion to allies. The boss hoped this legendary potion would counter the archers. It was useless against my troops, whose skills ignored evasion. The boss was burned to ash. Your troops killed the boss, gaining 10 million EXP. 10,000 times amplification triggered. You gained 100 billion EXP. You received 1 billion EXP. World announcements flooded the chat. Players were bewildered. Did Night Demon hack the game? Isn't an epic boss supposed to require 1,000 players to take down? Who is Night Demon? Absolute legend. World announcement. Eagle Kingdom player is the first to kill a normal boss. Reward, equipment gift box, normal, X1. The announcement was faint and singular. Players mocked the Eagle Kingdom's pathetic achievement. I jokingly posted, I'm Night Demon. I'm so jealous of that normal grade gear. I'll just have to settle for my legendary loot. The chat erupted. Meanwhile, in the Eagle Kingdom, a red-haired woman stared at her loot with fury, intrigued by Night Demon's power. I continued clearing the Temple of Poison. My goblin miners suffered casualties, but I didn't care. The elves mowed down the remaining troops with ease. Within 30 minutes, the temple was littered with corpses. Millions of dark elves were dead, though I wasted massive EXP due to my level cap. My goblins were reduced to 8,000, but they reached level 40. I approached the boss's remains. I began looting the bodies. 10,000 times amplification triggered. Loot X10, 000. I checked my inventory. The haul was massive, filled with legendary items. I didn't linger. If the goddess of poison noticed, she might descend, and I wasn't ready to fight a deity. I checked my quest item. Item: plague-spreading virus used by the Poison Legion to turn humans into zombies. System: quest objective achieved. An SSS rank quest indeed, requiring a legendary kill to complete. I prepared to leave the altar. Vivian waved her hand, summoning a gray mist, and we soon reached the surface. I didn't want to linger underground, fearing the nearby dark elves had heard the battle. Suddenly, the system chimed. Mission complete. Reward: 10,000 gold. Moon Dance Maiden's Blessing, weak. 10,000 times amplification triggered. 100 million gold. Moon Dance Maiden's Supreme Blessing, highest grade. I felt a cooling, holy sensation permeate my soul as I was bathed in light. A new skill appeared in my skill bar. The Supreme Blessing grants the highest authority over the Moon Dance Church. All church units will obey me, with loyalty and morale permanently maxed. As the Moon Dance Maiden's representative, my actions reflect her, potentially altering other deities' attitudes toward me. At night, all my units gain 100% attack, movement speed, defense, and attack speed. Units below immortal grade cannot view information regarding me, my heroes, troops, or territory. I twitched, stunned by the skill's power. While the night buffs were strong, the blessing essentially branded me with Stephanie's mark. Other gods would now avoid me. I was now tethered to a specific deity, rather than just receiving minor stat boosts. I sighed. The problem is, Stephanie is a weakling. I felt slightly cheated by the system. Stephanie and the goddess of poison were both bottom-tier deities. Regardless, I didn't intend to rely on any god. I turned to the 80 rescued believers, who now looked at me with fanatic devotion. I addressed their saintess, Ina, asking how many remained in the temple. Ina hesitated, explaining that after an attack a month ago, the group had scattered. I sighed at their pathetic state. I ordered them to join my territory. Ina agreed immediately. The system confirmed the acquisition of 82 believers, new buildings, and a series of daily temple quests. I was pleased to discover Ina was an S-rank hero, despite her current gold-tier strength. She had immense growth potential, and the new temple quests were now under my management. As the maiden's representative, I controlled the temple's affairs. I checked the quest list. The quests involved expanding the believer base. These were limited role quests with no tangible rewards. Since I was now bound to Stephanie, the temple's growth benefited me directly. I dismissed the quests, refusing to be a laborer. I marched my troops to the surface, emerging into a clear, starry night. The believers gazed at the bright moon in awe, having not seen it for a long time. I ignored their sentiment and marched toward the Church of Light's outpost. Oraid greeted me, and I handed over the mission items, advising him to abandon the outpost and return to the main city. Orate agreed, realizing a major conflict was imminent. The poison cult would surely retaliate for the destroyed ritual and dead priests. The few hundred paladins present couldn't withstand an assault. Orate immediately ordered the evacuation. They would return with the full force of the Church of Light. The system chimed again. Mission complete. Reward: 10,000 gold, 100,000 church contribution points, Hero Advancement Stone, Judgment of Justice, Epic. 10,000 times amplification triggered. 100 million gold, 1 billion contribution points, 10,000 Hero Advancement Stones, Judgment of Justice, Mythical Tier 1. I was stunned. The Hero Advancement Stone was incredibly rare, allowing a hero to break through a tier. It could elevate A-rank heroes to S-rank, and S-rank to SS rank. In my past life, these stones were virtually non-existent even after 10 years. Now, I possessed 10,000 of them, though each hero was limited to 2 uses. I was disappointed by the only 1 billion contribution points, as high nobility titles required astronomical amounts. I remained patient. I also received another artifact, adding to my massive stockpile of unopened gift boxes. I decided to inventory my loot while marching back to my territory. The operation had been a massive success, netting nearly 5 billion gold. While theoretically worth 100 billion dragon coins, the market couldn't absorb that much currency. Selling too much would crash the exchange rate. Even so, it was worth at least 50 billion. I planned to reinvest the funds into my territory's development. I also examined my new equipment, including a cloak made of moonlight from the goddess of moon. Legendary, Tier 3, Hero Equipment, Level 20, plus 2,000 defense, plus 100% movement speed. Night Stealth, invisible to units below Mythical grade. Attacking Break Stealth. Immunity, nullifies 1 attack every 10 minutes. Description, a staff from the goddess of poison, crafted from thousands of toxins. Legendary, Tier 4, Hero Equipment, Level 20, 35,200 to 35,800 attack, plus 2,000 intelligence, plus 2,000 spirit. Magic attack, plus 20%. Attacks deal fixed poison damage, inflicting a debuff dealing 5x magic attack per second for 5 minutes. Active, releases poison in a 500-yard radius, inflicting the same 5x magic attack damage over time effect. Description, a special weapon from the God of Justice, designed to shatter evil. Mythical, Tier 1, Troop Equipment, Level 1, Troop Attack, plus 20%. 5% chance to execute enemies, excluding bosses. Attacks trigger an arc of lightning, dealing 10,000 damage to up to 9 enemies. I was dazzled by these legendary grade items. In my past life, I didn't acquire my first legendary item until years later during a major event. Even then, it was low-tier vendor trash with poor stats. Now, despite their low level, these items possessed explosive stats. Cloaks are notoriously rare in this game. This mythical cloak provides massive defensive and movement bonuses. Considering Tier 9 troops average 1,800 defense, this plus 2,000 bonus is immense. It makes troops below Tier 7 effectively invincible. The immunity skill is game-breaking, likely capable of blocking mythical-grade attacks. The staff offers top-tier output and AoE, while the troop equipment allows for unique army customization. Troop equipment provides direction for players to cultivate specialized forces. High-level players often use gear to make Tier 1 troops outperform mid-tier units. This mythical gear provides a 20% attack boost and a 5% execute chance. While useless against bosses, it counters the tanky units other lords deploy. Combined with defensive gear, those tanks become nearly impossible to kill. The execute effect, paired with the Heart of Slaughter, easily neutralizes such threats. The AoE skill is invaluable even in the late game. I equipped it to my fire archers, causing their bows to crackle with lightning. The elves looked at me with gratitude. I also gained 10,000 legendary grade potions. Gift boxes are a love-hate mechanic. They are system-exclusive and unpredictable, often yielding items of lower quality than the box itself. I hoped my high luck would yield great results. I opened the boxes, triggering 10,000 times amplification. I received a ring of the Goddess of Life, containing a portion of her divine power. Legendary, Tier 9, Hero Equipment, Lord Only, Level 10, Revives all fallen units with full HP/MP once every 24 hours. I was stunned. A revival item was unheard of and incredibly overpowered. It effectively granted my army 2 lives. I equipped it immediately. I then pulled out a terrifying SSS rank, Unique Hidden Scroll. Effect: grants a unique hidden class. Requirement: level 10 plus mage. I crushed the scroll. Dark lightning tore through the space, and I was successfully promoted to a new class, unlocking my level cap. My growth stats surged, plus 100 int/spirit, plus 50 STR, Vit Agi, and plus 100 free points per level. I learned 2 new skills, amplified by my talent. Elemental Mastery. Max increases all elemental damage dealt by units by 100%. Fire Infusion. Level 1 grants fire attribute to target troops for 20 minutes. 2% chance to trigger an explosion dealing 2x magic attack to 10 enemies within 200 yards. Cost: 1000 MP, 30-minute cooldown. I was shocked by the power of these skills. My growth stats were dozens of times higher than a standard player's. The skills were equally terrifying. A 100% elemental damage boost is incredibly rare. Combined with the fire infusion, even weak troops could become devastating powerhouses. With my inventory checked, I returned to my territory. The territory was overflowing with resources. I built more warehouses and villas to accommodate my troops and heroes. Troops replenish stamina in their recruitment buildings. Heroes require specialized housing to maintain loyalty and morale. I provided the best for my team. I invited Ina to choose a room. Ina thanked me, still weak from her disconnection with Stephanie. I used 2 hero advancement stones on her, raising her to SSS rank. A holy light bathed her as she removed her hood. She revealed silver hair and delicate, refined features. Her skin was flawless, and she blushed while thanking me. I was struck by her beauty and checked her new attributes. Ina, a young dark elf from the Underdark, is a SSS rank Moon Dance Priestess, LV.25. She is a saintess favored by the Moon Dance Maiden. Stats: 2600 ATK, 1200 Def Skill. Moon Dance, LV.max. Increases ATK, MVSBD, and ATKSBD by 50% for units within 2000 yards. Effect is infinite, but interrupted if Ina is attacked. Skill: Moon Knight Descent, LV.max. Transforms the area into night for 30 minutes. Cooldown: 1 hour. Skill: Moon Dance Slash, LV.1. Releases crescent-shaped magic energy, dealing 10x magic damage in a straight line. Skill: Moon Dance Maiden's Protection, LV.max. Grants invisibility at night, undetectable by units below minor deities. Effect breaks upon attacking. I am satisfied with Ina. Though her early growth was only S rank, her potential is immense. Her skills create a nocturnal environment that buffs my troops. With my territory reaching the level cap, I upgrade it from level 11 to 20 using massive resources. Territory level: 20. Population: 10, 296/22,000. Area: 7,000 grids. Expansion: 100 grids/day. Buildings: Lord's Hall, Basic Barracks, Kitchen, Flame Shooting Range, all LV.10. Troops: 2,000 Flame Sharpshooters, 82 14 Goblin Miners, 82 Moon Dance Priestesses. Resources: Wood 2B, Stone 14.3B, Iron 50.6B, Food 20.4B, Gold 4.9B. Resource Point: Gold, Epic. Upgrade Cost: 2M Basic Resources, 10k Crystals. The territory area has tripled to 7,000 grids, allowing 1,000 grids of expansion daily. I checked the Tier 2 Lord Quest. Quest: Prepare for growth by strengthening military and defense. Difficulty: 5M. Requirements: 1. Kill 100 gold tier plus bosses. 2. Reach 20,000 mid-tier plus troops. 3. Reach 100k defense score. I find the 5M difficulty for an SSS rank quest daunting. The requirements are extremely harsh. Killing 100 gold tier bosses is enough to deter most players. Low-level gold bosses are notoriously hard to locate. Requiring 20,000 mid-tier troops is another major hurdle. The 100k defense score necessitates high-grade walls and gold-tier defensive towers. Players can build walls, towers, and various defensive facilities. Ordinary lords would likely be stuck on this quest forever. Even pro players would have to rely on microtransactions once currency exchange opens. These aren't issues for me, though I decide I must visit the Ice Dragon domain. I begin building new structures. Trading house for commerce. Forge. Unlocks equipment, crafting via blueprints. Mana extractor. Extracts mana from crystals. Mana is essential for powering high-end buildings like the Forge. Defensive towers require mana, and the Combat Academy researches troop skills. Basic Training Ground. An AFK leveling tool for troops. Combat Academy and Basic Training Ground are unique buildings. I use acceleration cards to build and max out these facilities. The territory rumbles with construction. I check the trading house, which is currently empty. I am the only Tier 1 lord, so others cannot build trading houses yet. I need to accelerate other players' progress. The Forge and Mana Extractor remain idle without blueprints or crystals. Crystals are luxury resources not provided by the system. I check the Combat Academy, LV.10. I assign flame sharpshooters to research. I must choose a resident hero. Options: Vivian, 105% efficiency, or Ina, 300% efficiency. I choose Ina for research. I opt for part-time research since my current damage is sufficient. I check the Basic Training Ground, LV.10. It can train up to 20,000 troops simultaneously. I consider the temple, but refuse to pledge loyalty to any deity, especially the weak Stephanie. I build it anyway but ignore the religious implications. I then focus on the Sky Knight's barracks. Sky Knight Barracks, LV.10 teaches combat techniques and advanced theory. Daily output, 2,000. Unit, Sky Knight, Tier 11. Cost, 3,000 gold. Time, 30s. I recruit 2,000 Sky Knights instantly using acceleration cards. The knights appear, clad in dark blue armor, mounted on horses that are half mechanical. The horses feature cold, electronic mechanical eyes. I inspect their stats. Sky Knights from the Third Universe, whose home was destroyed by the mechanical scourge, are now loyal to a new lord. Level 1. Stats. 450 to 475 attack, 220 defense. Tier 11. Semi-mechanical android race. 38,000 HP. Skill. Sky's Wrath, LVMAX. Their mounts are high-tech and capable of flight. Effect. Grants flight and immunity to enemy movement-slowing effects. Skill. Destructive Strike, LV1. A powerful charge against single targets. Effect. Deals attack *2 to 20, damage based on charge distance. Maximum damage is reached at 300 yards. Cooldown, 5 minutes. Skill. Sky's Wrath, LV1. Channels all energy into a lance for a devastating strike. Effect. Deals attack *20 damage to up to 200 enemies. Afterward, the mount enters a weakened state, reducing movement speed by 50% for 10 minutes. Cooldown, 30 minutes. Morale/loyalty, max. Food consumption, 1500/day. I reviewed these overwhelming stats. The Sky Knights are superior to flame sharpshooters and rank among the best Tier 11 units. Their flight capability is essential for a powerful lord. Flying units offer high mobility, functioning like ancient cavalry to complete tasks ground troops cannot. My experience ensures I can maximize their potential, especially given their absurd skills. Destructive Strike allows for precise, high-damage single-target eliminations during charges. Sky's Wrath is a massive AoE ultimate that remains powerful even in the late game. I used a unit refresh card and recruited 2,000 Sky Knights. I added 2,000 flame sharpshooters, bringing my total to 4,000 of each. Realizing I needed to manage my population, I planned to cull the goblin miners. The system warned me to log off after 10 hours of play. My territory is under newbie protection until tomorrow noon, ensuring safety. I found Ina watching the moon. She worried about her goddess, but I reassured her that the goddess of poison couldn't breach her divine kingdom. Relieved, Ina retired. Vivian approached, having changed from her armor into a moon-white dress. The dress flowed to her ankles. I, struck by her beauty, told her I was logging off and suggested she rest. Vivian hesitated, bringing up the Dark Elves. She was concerned about their reputation on the Lost Continent and feared they might harm me. I dismissed her worries, noting they were loyal followers of Stephanie and not inherently evil. Vivian nodded, though she remained wary of Ina. As I prepared to log off, I felt a sudden fragrance and a soft touch on my cheek. Vivian gave me a goodnight kiss. She turned to leave, her ears bright red. I was stunned. I mused on her boldness, noting the story's harem trajectory. I logged off, stretched my stiff body, and ate some bread while checking my phone. I had over 30,000 dragon coins and planned to exchange them for gold once the feature opened. I intended to keep the exchange modest. Large guilds would track me if I exchanged too much, so I needed to remain low-key before the worlds merged. I browsed the official game forum. The forum used real game accounts, preventing bot spam. It was bustling with activity. Major guilds were recruiting. Warsoul Guild was seeking high-level players. Aoshi Guild publicly offered the Night Demon a vice-captain position and a 10 million annual salary. Players were envious, but I found it amusing. Aoshi was a top 3 Dragon Kingdom guild backed by major corporations. To most, this offer was the pinnacle of success. I scoffed. Aoshi was a soulless, profit-driven entity. Their offer was a joke compared to my current wealth of nearly 5 billion gold. I closed the post and continued browsing. Most discussions were about early game strategies and unit stats. Many guides were misleading, causing newbies to starve their troops. I decided to write my own guide to help players progress, not out of kindness, but to ensure they became useful tools and customers for my goblins. I spent 30 minutes documenting efficient resource gathering and weak monster camp locations. I posted a guide on early game essential units. Initially mocked for my username, the forum erupted once players realized it was the legendary Night Demon. The post went viral, garnering millions of replies, and was promptly pinned by administrators. Players were stunned by my insights, such as the trick to recruiting kobolds with food. Others realized they could defeat monsters without taking damage, lamenting the unnecessary loss of their own troops. Fans praised Night Demon's brilliance and clamored to see the stats of the recommended early game units. Many players thanked me, claiming the guide would help them reach Tier 1 Lord status today. Users hailed me as a hero of the Dragon Kingdom for my selfless contribution. Rumors spread that Night Demon would sell Tier 4 units tomorrow, leaving the community in disbelief. Ignoring the notifications, I went to sleep. Meanwhile, in the Rose Garden territory, the owner, Zi Qiangwei, was active. Zi Qiangwei, leader of one of the Dragon Kingdom's top 3 guilds, was a renowned beauty. She gathered her guild's senior members for an urgent meeting. She ordered them to mobilize all available gold immediately, regardless of the late hour. The executives were shocked, as many had already logged off for the night. With no remote transfer methods, they had to meet in person to pool funds, a logistical nightmare. Despite concerns about guild morale, Zi Qiangwei insisted, fearing they would miss the opportunity. She revealed her goal: to purchase the Tier 4 units Night Demon was auctioning tomorrow. She noted that Night Demon was an unknown entity, a mysterious powerhouse. She reasoned that selling Tier 4 units meant he needed money. Her true objective was to build a relationship with him, hoping to secure a pipeline for future high-end gear and troops. If Rose could establish an exclusive channel with this globally famous figure, the guild would skyrocket. With every major power failing to identify him, she knew the best strategy was to befriend him rather than make an enemy. Author's note: apologies for delayed replies due to platform moderation. Author's note: apologies for recent errors. I am working part-time and exhausted. Thank you for your feedback. Across the board, guilds realized I was desperate for cash, given I was giving away such valuable information for free. They concluded the guide was merely a hook for my upcoming Tier 4 unit sale. Every major guild prepared to use their massive wealth to win me over. I remained oblivious to their intentions, which would have amused me greatly. The next morning, I bought a high-end gaming pod with an 4 nutrient system, allowing me to stay in the game indefinitely while my physical body slept. The setup was expensive, costing 30,000 dragon coins plus daily maintenance fees. Back home, I checked my forum account to find over 999 private messages. Players flooded me with gratitude, confirming my guide helped them clear local threats. Others reported reaching level 5, having pulled all-nighters thanks to my advice. Many continued to pester me about how to acquire the Tier 4 units. I was satisfied. The guide had achieved its purpose. I donned my headset and re-entered the Lost Continent. The system notified me that my troops had gained 60,000 EXP while I was offline. Thanks to 10,000 times amplification, this became 600 million EXP, boosting my own level to 3. My research projects also progressed, yielding 1,920 skill EXP. Amplified, this became 19.2 million skill EXP, maxing out my skill levels to 10. I realized even building passive gains were amplified. The basic training ground had produced minimal gains per soldier, but the multiplier changed everything. Each soldier received 100,000 EXP, causing their levels to skyrocket. With this, my troops would always outpace other players, even while I was idle. The skill amplification was equally absurd, instantly maxing out high-tier abilities. I began checking my updated stats. Flame Burn, LV10, grants flame sharpshooters fire attribute damage. The first hit deals 10x attack as burn damage. Upon target death, it deals equivalent damage to up to 10 nearby enemies. With damage quadrupled at max level, the AoE potential is maximized. I task Ina with further research during her downtime. Vivian and Ina greet me upon my arrival. Vivian has swapped her dress for form-fitting light gray armor, looking sharp and heroic. Ina retains her silver-white robes, her pointed ears peeking out adorably. Well-rested, she watches me with a smile. I nod, collect 2 million gold from my resource points, and check the trading house. Many players have completed their Tier 1 quests, populating the market. Most listings are junk units or basic resource trades. I list wood, stone, and iron for crystals. Though crystals are currently undervalued, I know their strategic importance will skyrocket in 3 months, forcing other players to work for me later. I then list my goblin miners, useless in combat but perfect for labor, at 200 crystals each. The system prompts, sell 4,296 units? Warning, units will reset to level 1 upon sale. This is a standard restriction. It prevents high-level lords from mass-producing and selling high-level armies. This limitation slows down large guilds and gives ordinary players a chance to survive. I set the price at 200 crystals each and confirm. The market erupts as players scramble to buy the Tier 4 units, which are vastly superior to the Tier 1 units most currently possess. The news spreads across the Dragon Kingdom. Players are stunned by the power gap. Many are frustrated that I demand crystals instead of gold. Players without crystals scramble to trade other resources for them. Those lucky enough to have crystal nodes near their territory celebrate their advantage. Major guilds, having hoarded gold, are caught off guard by the crystal requirement. Zi Qiangwei, exhausted from a sleepless night of gold gathering, is furious. "Damn you, night demon," she cries. Her outburst echoes through her territory. Other guilds feel similarly mocked, but they have no choice but to pivot and start gathering crystals. Zi Qiangwei, despite her fatigue, orders her members to pool crystals for the purchase. The entire Dragon Kingdom enters a frenzy to mine crystals. Gold farming groups abandon their tasks to focus entirely on crystal extraction. Lords with crystal nodes prioritize mining over exploration. They believe they are seizing an opportunity, unaware they are merely working for me. Meanwhile, I recruit 4,000 flame sharpshooters and 4,000 sky knights, bringing my population to 20,000. I leave 1,000 max-level sharpshooters to guard my territory and prepare to march on the City of Light with 15,000 troops led by Vivian and Ina. The Lost Continent is home to various races and their respective cities, which existed long before the players arrived. Empires maintain neutrality toward players for now, though tensions will rise in a year. I head to the City of Light, a massive sanctuary established by the Church of Light that now houses millions. An hour later, the city's massive white walls appear, looking like a heavenly fortress. Defensive towers bristling with magical energy line the walls. I recall the future, where this city becomes the site of a massive, world-spanning battle against demons. For now, the city remains peaceful and majestic. The guards are alarmed by the sudden arrival of my massive army. Typically, players are forbidden from bringing armies into the city. However, as a god-ordained noble, I hold the privilege to enter with my forces. Paladins gather, and defensive mechanisms lock onto my troops. A commander recognizes me and orders the gates opened, calling me a god-granted knight. The guards are stunned, having never seen a knight with such a massive army. The gates open, and I enter. The system confirms my entry into the neutral zone, where malicious combat is strictly prohibited. As a god-ordained knight, I gain privileges, free lodging/supplies, the ability to recruit 100 paladins, and monthly church supplies. The city is a pristine, orderly expanse of white Gothic architecture. The City of Light is dominated by the Church of Light, the city's tallest and most prominent structure. I brought my troops to the church's barracks for free supplies and healing. After instructing my 2 heroines to rest, I headed toward the main church building alone. Navigating the familiar layout, I arrived at the majestic Church of Light. A large bulletin board outside displayed various church quests for players. Ignoring the quests, I entered. 2 paladins bowed, greeting me as Knight Demon Knight. I nodded and walked through the vast, marble-pillared interior until I found a young girl praying before a statue of the God of Light. The girl, roughly 16 or 17, had long golden hair and wore pristine white robes, her expression one of deep piety. Her ID identified her as Saintess Cecilia, a high-ranking figure capable of communicating with the God of Light. I knew her primarily as the NPC responsible for exchanging items and equipment. After waiting a few minutes for her prayer to conclude, I greeted her. Cecilia responded warmly, thanking me for my deeds as reported by Knight Orate. Her smile faltered, replaced by a look of bewilderment as she stared at me. She sensed a powerful, distinct aura of another deity emanating from me. Ignoring her confusion, I stated, I am here to exchange for a nobility title. Cecilia stared at me, blinking in curiosity. That, won't your goddess be angry? She whispered. She recognized the cool, moonlight-like aura on me, but it wasn't the goddess of moon. She was baffled by my dual allegiance. I, unimpressed by her mention of Stephanie, urged her to proceed with the title exchange. Cecilia stammered. Oh, right, of course, struggling to process my situation. She wondered how a devout follower of the Moon Dance Maiden could seek a title from the God of Light. I ignored her internal conflict as the system prompt appeared. The available titles were Baron, 100 M points, Viscount, 1B, Count, 100B, and unknown requirements for Marquis and Duke. I noted the steep costs. Only one player in the world had reached Count in 10 years. With enough points for a Viscount title, I confirmed the exchange. As a Viscount, I gained the privilege of unlimited church quest access. My territory would now be under the Church of Light's protection, treating any attack as a declaration of war against the church. I received a 30% discount at the church shop. I could recruit up to 10,000 paladins and command battles of up to 1 million troops. I could issue up to 10 S-rank quests monthly. I gained entry to high-level church military meetings. These perks were significant, especially the ability to legally recruit paladins and issue S-rank quests. The potential to recruit legendary or crown tier units was a massive boon, and my command capacity reached the scale of small wars. My territory was now effectively invincible, as any player attacking me would face the full might of the church. I opened the contribution shop, categorized into units, materials, equipment, and consumables. The unit menu offered various paladins and holy radiance mages, starting at tier 3. I noted that the supply of these units was strictly limited. Even low-tier units could not be generated in infinite quantities. Skipping the low-tier options, I scrolled to the bottom. I found the tier 11 Holy Radiance Priest, 905 available, for 500k points each, restricted to Viscounts. These powerful healers were inaccessible to ordinary players due to both the rank requirement and the high cost. Knowing their value as top-tier healers with invincibility skills, I decided to buy them. I purchased the entire stock without hesitation. The transaction cost 253.4 million points. With my Viscount discount and title bonuses, I paid roughly 56% of the original price. I then opened the equipment menu. The shop listed various basic paladin armor sets. I ignored the standard gear, searching until I found the banner of Holy Radiance, Mythic, for 200 million points. This item had propelled a player to the top of the Dragon Kingdom in my past life. I purchased it for 112 million points and checked its stats. The Mythic tier banner increased damage against evil factions by 30%. It granted Holy Radiance, healing the unit by 2% per second for 5 minutes, 1 hour cooldown. It granted Holy Descent, providing 5 minutes of invincibility, 3-hour cooldown. The stats were incredibly powerful. Combined with my title, my damage against evil forces increased by 80%. The defensive skills were perfect for frontline units, and since the banner affected all units of the type, it was a game changer. In late-game scenarios, this could render millions of units invincible simultaneously. Lacking a dedicated tank, I equipped it to my Sky Knights. It provided my high-attack Sky Knights with much-needed survivability. I then checked the materials menu. The church had few materials, but I found what I needed: hero breakthrough stones. I bought 1,000 stones for Vivian's limit break, costing 56 million points after discounts, and picked up some potions before closing the interface. Cecilia had returned to her silent prayers, unaware of the massive transaction that had just occurred. Sensing my gaze, Cecilia slowly opened her eyes. She parted her lips and asked, "Viscount Knight Demon, how do you and your goddess usually interact?" My mouth twitched. It seemed Cecilia mistook me for Stephanie's saint. Even as a saintess, she had never received the god of light's highest blessing. I brushed it off. She's easy enough to get along with. Not wanting to discuss Stephanie further, I stated, "Cecilia, I'm here to collect my Viscount supplies." Cecilia nodded, and the system notification chimed. "Ding. You have received your monthly supplies. 20,000 gold and 2 epic grade temple walls." Ding. 10,000 times amplification triggered. You received 200 million gold and 20,000 epic grade temple walls. I was stunned. 20,000 epic walls. I checked my inventory. They were all there. These weren't standard walls. Epic grade walls were enchanted by bishops, offering superior defense and special skills. I inspected the attributes. Description: temple walls enchanted by bishops. Level 100. Grade: epic. Durability: 500 billion. Defense: 800. Skill 1. Evil Repel, evil faction damage halved. Skill 2. Holy Imprisonment, 33% chance to imprison attackers for 3 seconds. Skill 3. Advanced Hardening, 50% physical damage reduction. I was satisfied. I focused on the skills. Advanced Hardening was excellent for having physical damage. Against evil faction enemies, the combined effects would reduce damage to a mere quarter. Holy Imprisonment provided a solid 33% crowd control chance. I hadn't expected the amplification to yield 20,000 walls. This was a monthly recurring supply. I could sell them for a fortune, though I didn't need the money. My original plans for acquiring walls were now obsolete. These epic walls were more than enough to complete my Tier 2 Lord quest. They were sufficient to enclose my current territory, though I planned to expand to level 30. In the late game, high-end territories were massive. I only needed to protect the core. Meanwhile, in a simple room, Jack, the 2nd Legion commander of the Church of Light, was reviewing documents. As a count, he held the highest authority in the City of Light, aside from the bishops and saintess. A paladin entered anxiously. "Commander Jack, Viscount Knight Demon has spent his contribution points." Jack was surprised. He had personally set the pricing for the church's assets. The paladin continued. He redeemed all the Holy Radiance priests. Jack stood up, shocked, and checked the records. At 9:25 a.m., Viscount Knight Demon had redeemed 905 Holy Radiance priests. Jack's mouth twitched. Those priests were the church's prized assets. The paladin added, "And he took the banner of Holy Radiance too." Jack's face turned ashen. The banner was the symbol of the City of Light. Jack felt he had shot himself in the foot. He had set the mythical grade banner as a reward to entice players, never dreaming anyone could afford it. He couldn't go back on his word without answering to the God of Light, so he swallowed his bitterness. I closed my panels, satisfied. With my troop count met, I only needed one more thing. The defense requirement was 100,000. Each epic wall provided 10,000 defense. Enclosing my territory would push my defense into the tens of millions. The final condition remained: kill 100 gold grade or higher bosses. I knew just the place. I turned to Cecilia. "Saintess, I'm here to collect my troops." "Apologies, Viscount, please wait. The Holy Radiance priests are currently assembling." Cecilia explained they would join my units once gathered. I nodded in understanding. As high-level units scattered across the city, assembly took time. Suddenly, ding! Respected Viscount, please proceed to the high-level war conference room. The system chimed 3 times. Recognized as a high-end combatant, I bid Cecilia farewell and headed to the meeting. I pushed open the doors to the massive conference room. Over a dozen people were present. They changed expressions upon seeing me. As a Viscount, I held high status. Only Jack, a count, outranked me. They offered me a seat to Jack's left. I sat down, noting Oraid was absent. I focused on Jack, a man of iron will and immense strength. Jack was at the peak of the legendary grade, capable of reaching mythical grade with the God of Light's aid. He would go on to command many glorious victories. Sadly, he would later be betrayed by the Demon King's son and several demigod liches, meeting his end in the Blade Ridge Mountains. Jack nodded to me, then announced, "Personnel are assembled. Let's begin." A commander stepped forward, handing over a file. "Legion Commander, I have drafted the purification strategy against the poison cult." Jack nodded and displayed a map for everyone, detailing mission objectives, march directions, and retreat routes for each legion. With the poison cult scattered across the Lost Continent, the Church of Light mobilized over 30 million troops. Operations remained focused on the surface, as the Church currently lacked the means to strike underground. Upon reviewing the plan, the commanders voiced their approval. "No issues, it looks solid." As the commanders agreed and Jack prepared to finalize the plan, I spoke up. "The altar of the storm god north of Cold Wind Ridge is holding a major ritual. Go if you want to die." The southern desert route is infested with 3 legendary grade, level 150 sandworms. The Fandir Empire holds 3 major poison cult strongholds. You should deploy heavy forces there. The Lamo Plateau strongholds house 2 legendary grade high priests. Standard troops won't suffice. Silence fell over the room. My corrections dismantled their entire strategy, leaving the commanders sweating. If I was right, their original plan was a death trap that would decimate their paladins. After a long pause, a grave Jack ordered, "Modify the strategy according to Viscount Knight Demon's intelligence." The commander complied. The room's attitude toward me shifted from dismissal to awe. They didn't doubt my intel. Lying would result in severe military punishment, including the stripping of my title. Ignoring their stares, I stated, "I will take responsibility for the area between Evernight Forest and Death Basin." Jack's eyes lit up. "You're joining the campaign?" The City of Light was short on manpower. My involvement would significantly ease their burden. Jack had hesitated to ask, given I was a newly appointed Viscount and an otherworldly player. "Correct," I confirmed. Jack accepted immediately. "Very well. Evernight Forest and Death Basin are yours, Viscount Knight Demon." The meeting continued for over an hour, covering the Church's broader operations. The poison cult was merely one of many threats. The goddess of poison was considered weak among evil deities. Most of the Church's forces were tied up elsewhere, dealing with recent escalations. First, the goddess of poison had gone erratic, holding massive rituals. I knew she was desperate for divine power to invade Stephanie's divine kingdom. Simultaneously, an organized undead army had appeared in the east, led by a demigod-level son of the Demon King, the version's final boss. I kept this to myself. As I prepared to leave, Jack stopped me. "Viscount Knight Demon." Jack sighed. "The Holy Radiance priests are assembled. Please treat them well." "Rest assured," I replied, departing. Outside, the system chimed. "You have accepted a unique hidden quest. Quest: the City of Light's purification of the poison cult. Jack has tasked you with clearing Evernight Forest and Death Basin. Difficulty: 5 million. Reward: 1 million contribution points. The high difficulty rating confirmed the presence of epic-grade enemies or higher. The reward was generous, 100 million points after the 10,000 times amplification. However, the task was massive, involving millions of zombies and plague-ridden creatures created by the cult. Crucially, this was a holy war, meaning all kills would grant contribution points. I decided to issue my own church quests. As a God-granted Viscount, I could issue S-rank quests to players, provided I offered sufficient rewards. I input the details, and a national announcement echoed. "Players, head to your local Church of Light." Announcement: Viscount Knight Demon is launching a massive purification of Evernight Forest and Death Basin. He is recruiting players. Quest: kill units, zombies, plague hellhounds, cultists. Rewards: gold, resources, contribution points. Requirements: non-evil faction, Tier 1 city lord, 1,000 plus troops. I then headed to a grocery store. I bought 1,000 great horns for 80 million gold, a tool for broadcasting messages across the entire Dragon Kingdom. I sent the message. I've issued an S-rank quest. Rewards include gold, resources, and church contribution points for gear and units. Accept at the Church of Light. I sent it 3 times. Players were stunned. Night Demon is leading a campaign? What units can we exchange for? Even if it's a trap, I'm joining to thank him for his guides. Major guilds hesitated, but in the Rose Garden Guild, Zi Xiangwei was woken by the commotion. Leader, we should join. Night Demon is strong, and following him means profit. The guild chat was flooded with support for me. Zi Xiangwei sighed and ordered, at everyone, accept the quest. Gather at Evernight Forest at 12 o'clock. Many other guilds saw this as a chance to curry favor with the mysterious me. I remained elusive, ignoring all friend requests and private messages. However, some rival guilds saw this as an opportunity to suppress me. He's too arrogant, they muttered, plotting to interfere. I ignored the politics and walked through the City of Light. I arrived at a familiar, unassuming blacksmith shop. A dwarf approached. What do you need? I asked, is Clark the boss? The dwarf confirmed. I stated, I want to buy the 9 hammers of destiny. The dwarf gasped and ran inside, returning with Clark, a burly dwarf who glared at me. Human, how do you know that name? Clark sneered, I don't know how you heard of the 9 hammers, but keep your mouth shut and leave. Clark turned to leave, but I calmly asked, don't you want to reclaim 8 Gods Mountain? Clark shuddered. I offered, I can help you drive out the greenskins and reclaim your home, provided you give me the blueprints for the 9 hammers of destiny. Clark froze and stared at me. Your name? Night Demon, I replied. The system chimed. Due to my high reputation, Clark's affinity +2, triggering 10,000 times amplification. Clark's affinity +200 maxed. Breathless, Clark asked, Human, do you know what lies within 8 Gods Mountain? I sneered. Just a few 100 billion greenskins whose war chief is busy fighting ratmen in the south. If you don't seize this chance, you'll never get another. After a tense silence, Clark sighed. Fine, Human. The 9 hammers of destiny are yours. I received the item and the quest. Clark was a dwarven prince. His kingdom was destroyed by greenskins, leaving him with fewer than 100 survivors hiding in the City of Light. In my previous life, he only reclaimed his home 3 years later with player assistance. His kingdom was minor and had little impact on the continent. The 9 hammers of destiny were an immortal artifact, far superior to mythical gear, and the key to his future resurgence. Currently, it was only a blueprint, as Clark lacked the materials. I inspected the blueprint. Description: a hammer used by the dwarf god king to forge divine weapons and crush enemies. Rank: immortal artifact. Attributes: materials: dragon bone *1, ancient blue ice *200, godhead fragment *50. Note: blueprint vanishes upon successful forging. I was speechless. These materials were incredibly rare. Dragon bones required epic tier dragons. The other materials, ancient blue ice, heart of rock, primal thunder, and primal flame, came from the 4 major elemental planes, guarded by countless legends. The godhead fragments were even more contested. Even the Church of Light couldn't provide these. How did Clark forge it in the past? I recalled rumors that Clark had traded with demons. There was no confirmation, but the theory persisted. Could it be the Demon World Chamber of Commerce? I found this highly probable. The chamber had existed for millennia, claiming they could procure anything for a price. They were backed by 3 ancient demon kings. I decided I needed to contact the Demon World Chamber of Commerce. I checked my new quest. Quest: help the exiled dwarven royalty, Clark, reclaim 8 Gods Mountain. Difficulty: 8 billion. Deadline: 2 years. Reward: failure penalty, permanent -200 affinity with Clark. I was stunned by the 8 billion difficulty rating. Such a rating usually implied opposing an immortal deity, or perhaps many. With a 2-year deadline, I hoped to be strong enough to fight gods by then. Finished in the City of Light, I prepared to leave when a system announcement boomed. World announcement: Tiandi Issei has joined the evil faction. Reward: Prestige plus 100. I frowned. I knew Tiandi Issei well from my past life. He was a notorious player who aided the demon invasion and killed countless humans. I sneered, hoping they would never cross paths, or I would end him regardless of any demon backing. I reunited with my troops, where I saw rows of women in white robes. They were pure and holy, resembling beings from a divine kingdom. These were the newly recruited Holy Radiance priests, an 11th tier healing unit. The Church of Light preferred women for their pure souls. In my past life, they were legendary for their instant, full heal capabilities. Players had never been able to recruit them, so their stats were a mystery until now. Description: Legendary healing unit from the Church of Light. Level 1. Attack 380 to 402. Defense 135. Tier 11. Race human. HP 6000. Skill 1. Holy Healing LV1. Restores 30% HP to a single target. Cooldown 20s. Skill 2. Holy Prayer LV1. Effect: increases all attributes and attack speed of up to 10 allies by 50% for 5 minutes. Cooldown 30s. Skill 3. Holy Protection LV1. Effect: grants invincibility to up to 10 allies for 30s. Cooldown 30 minutes. Morale/loyalty 200. Food consumption 1500/day. I was impressed by their power. While their base stats were low, making them fragile, their utility was unmatched. Their percentage-based healing meant they scaled infinitely. The stronger the unit, the more effective the heal. They would remain vital even after I acquired Crown Tier units or established my own divine kingdom. The Holy Radiance Priest's recovery is second only to the Goddess of Life's legendary units. Their Holy Prayer boosts all stats and attack speed by 50%, while Holy Protection provides invincibility. I now understand Jack's frustration. These priests are incredibly powerful but rare. Having recruited only 905, I plan to visit other Church of Light branches to bolster my numbers. I decide to lead my army to purge the poison cult for contribution points, then raid the Ice Dragon domain, a level 20 super secret realm, to complete my Lord quest. As a reincarnated player, I know the secret plot of the realm, granting me access to hidden rewards. My third goal is to contact the Demon World Chamber of Commerce to source materials for the 9 Hammers of Destiny. The Demon World Chamber of Commerce primarily serves the demon royalty, with minimal surface-level operations. Contacting them is difficult. As for Clark, I must put that matter aside for now. The 8 Gods Mountain is home to countless greenskins, mythical grade powerhouses, and even deities. Attacking now would be suicide. Just as I weigh my options, the system chimes. Ding. A player has accepted your quest. Their units are now considered Church of Light forces. Ding. A player has accepted your quest. Their units are now considered Church of Light forces. Ding. Special chat channel opened. A new channel appears for quest takers, with me as the Legion commander. Players flood the chat with excitement and questions. I ignore the noise and post an announcement. Everyone, gather at the west side of the Evernight Forest immediately. Don't be late, or there won't be any spoils left. With my current strength, I could assault the Poison Cult headquarters, provided the Goddess of Poison doesn't perform a divine descent. I am currently crushing everything in my path. My advance through the Evernight Forest and Death Basin will be swift and unstoppable. Early arrivals might snag high-level monsters. Latecomers will be left with the low-level scraps I ignore. I close the chat, uninterested in the player's chatter. I approach Vivian and crush 10 hero breakthrough stones in front of her. Ding. Your hero has successfully used 10 hero breakthrough stones and completed limit break I. Ding. Your hero has learned a new skill. As an SSS rank hero, Vivian requires 10 stones per breakthrough. I check the new skill. LVMAX, Shadow Mist. Vivian, Princess of the Shadow Realm, manipulates mist to facilitate rapid troop movement. Effect: units within the Shadow Mist gain 200% movement speed. This skill perfectly complements my army's mobility and stealth. I order Vivian to release the mist, shrouding my troops in gray, and we depart for the Evernight Forest. The Evernight Forest is vast, comparable to a medium-sized province in the Dragon Kingdom. With Vivian's Shadow Mist, my army enjoys doubled movement speed. Even the flame sharpshooters, who possess 10 times the movement speed, slow down to maintain formation. An hour later, I reach the west side of the forest and spot many players. Most players are equipped with basic Tier 1 units from standard barracks. My arrival causes a stir. Players marvel at my powerful units and the mysterious mist. I, masked, order them to organize into squads for front and backline coordination. Players scramble to form groups, setting requirements for Tier 2 units. Some bicker over unit quality, but I ignore them. I need laborers, not dependents. Suddenly, system notifications chime. Ding! Your subordinates have reached 10 million. As a God-granted viscount, you receive a wartime buff. Ding! You triggered 10,000 times amplification, granting a wartime buff. A holy aura appears beneath every player. Effect: 1. All units gain 100% attack and defense against the evil faction. 2. All units are immune to negative effects. Players are ecstatic at the massive stat boost. They are stunned by my ability to provide such a powerful buff. With this, even their weak units feel invincible. They are no longer afraid of the zombies' infection skills. Driven by the chance to farm contribution points, the players charge into the forest, slaughtering zombies with ease. Ding! Players killed 100 targets. You gain 1 contribution point, amplified to 10,000. Ding! Players killed 100 targets. You gain 1 contribution point, amplified to 10,000. As commander, I take 20% of my subordinates' points. Though the monsters are low tier, the players are thrilled by the rapid leveling and the prospect of trading points for Tier 3 units. Players are highly motivated, aiming for the 500-point threshold to unlock the Holy Paladin. Competition for kills heats up. I, uninterested in the low-level monsters, lead my troops toward the miasma-filled depths. With the immunity buff, I am ready to clear the area. Someone calls out from behind. Wait, Night Demon. I stop and turn. A large guild of several hundred players and hundreds of thousands of troops stood before me. The entire guild consisted exclusively of female members. At the front stood a slender girl in a mask. I was surprised to see the ID, Ziqiangwei. The Rose Guild was a top 3 force in the Dragon Kingdom, famous for its all-female roster and its beautiful leader, Ziqiangwei. I recalled that in my past life, Ziqiangwei was a top-tier ranger who gained the forest goddess's favor and later crushed millions of Sakura Kingdom troops during the Nation War. Once unreachable, she was now like an ant to me. I stared at her mask, a creator god item that even gods couldn't see through, and asked, "Something you need?" Ziqiangwei felt uneasy under my condescending gaze. She introduced herself, but my impatience shocked her and her guild. No one ever spoke to the Dragon Kingdom's most beautiful guild leader that way. Ignoring the tension, Ziqiangwei offered, "Night Demon, the Rose Guild invites you to join us with a 10 million annual salary, negotiable." The guild members were stunned. Their leader had famously sworn never to recruit men. They whispered among themselves, wondering if their leader had fallen for Night Demon. I was unimpressed. A 10 million salary? I found her confidence laughable. I wondered if she thought she was more attractive than my own companions, Vivian or Ina. A new voice interrupted. Haha, Rose Guild, you're funny. Night Demon isn't someone you can hire for a mere 10 million. A wealthy woman named Nanyan Xiaoshui appeared, accompanied by over 500 goblin miners she had purchased from me. She was famous for her money power. While others played to earn, she played to spend. She once spent billions on a guild token only to disband the guild later because she didn't know how to play. In my memory, she bought every high-tier unit that hit the trading house. Her true identity remained a mystery. Ziqiangwei glared at her, demanding, "Nanyan Xiaoshui, what is the meaning of this?" "I'm just stating facts," she replied. Nanyan Xiaoshui ignored Ziqiangwei and turned to me. "Night Demon, I offer 100 million for your future priority supply rights." The surrounding players were stunned. It was a god-tier offer. Ziqiangwei, unable to match that wealth, desperately countered. "Night Demon, I'll give you a real power vice president position." The Rose Guild members were shocked. Such a position was the pinnacle of success. I remained unmoved. Money was easy to earn, and I had no interest in guild titles. I shook my head. I won't join any guild. My goods will be sold on the trading house or via auction. I preferred the flexibility of the trading house. Nanyan Xiao Shui smiled, undeterred. Fine. Take this 10 million gold as a gift, and let's add each other as friends, little brother Night Demon. She felt buying a friend slot was worth it. I accepted, seeing potential future value in her. After receiving the gold and adding her, she left, leaving the Rose Guild members in disbelief. They couldn't fathom spending 10 million just for a friend request. Zi Qiangwei, frustrated by the rejection, followed me as I headed toward the Death Basin, trailed by other opportunistic players. Over 100,000 players had accepted the mission, commanding a total force exceeding 100 million. Most troops were low-tier fodder that I could wipe out instantly. I announced in the Legion channel, "Kill monsters." The top contributors will receive massive resource rewards, starting at 10 million for first place. I opened the kill leaderboard, which showed staggering numbers for the players. The players were stunned by the reward. Even Zi Qiangwei was shocked. Such resources could accelerate any guild's development. The leaderboard updated. First, Yi Mingzhu, 2,560 kills. Second, Zhanhun Yi Dao, 1203. Third, Wu Shuang He, 1196. Fourth, Xiao Chi Pao Tang, 1057. The players erupted in excitement, calling Night Demon a legend for the massive rewards. Players scrambled for kills, begging Night Demon, me, for help. I noticed Yi Mingzhu on the leaderboard, a future top 10 lord and skilled solo player currently struggling. I considered recruiting her as a vassal to handle menial tasks, despite the harsh nature of vassalage in the game. System, you discovered a new map. Reward, +1 reputation. System, 10,000 times amplification triggered. Reward, +10,000 reputation. The Death Basin was a grim, desolate wasteland of scorched earth and stench. Even the weakest monsters were Tier 3 skeleton warriors. These level 10 skeletons possessed undead traits, reducing physical damage by 20% and regenerating health on scorched ground. Most players lacked the strength to face Tier 3 units. The area also swarmed with Tier 4 skeleton mages, Tier 5 knights, and Tier 6 generals. Clearing this area would take players weeks. These undead were linked to the poison cult, and killing them yielded high contribution points. Players panicked. Level 10 Tier 3 monsters? I only have Tier 1 units. Panic spread as millions of skeletons swarmed. Players fled, fearing the level loss penalty upon death. I remained unfazed, viewing the horde as mere fodder. Death meant losing a level, morale, and forced retreat, leading to heavy losses. My flame sharpshooters unleashed flaming arrows, incinerating the skeletons instantly. The arrows triggered chain lightning, bouncing between targets. Combined with my skills, each shot caused massive AoE explosions, killing up to 30 units per arrow. System, 1,000 kills. Experience and contribution points amplified 10,000 times. My units hit max level, 80. Players watched in awe as the elven archers decimated the horde. Half an hour later, the area was cleared. System, hero level cap reached. Perform limit break to unlock. Empty, all flame sharpshooters reached level 80. I hit my own level cap, requiring a class trial. Ina reached level 40, needing 100 moonstones for her second limit break. I recalled that moonstones were exclusive to the goddess of Moon's temple. I sighed at the difficulty of breaking limits for SSS rank heroes and checked my own trial. Trial. Forbidden Mage, prove your return to the world. Objective, kill 10 epic bosses. Reward, level cap unlock and an ancient ruins teleportation scroll. I was stunned by the difficulty of the first trial. I pondered the value of the teleportation scroll, sensing danger. I resolved to finish the task quickly. I had earned 3 billion contribution points from the massacre. Ina reported finding 3 resource nodes. I declined, they were too far to harvest. Vivian returned from scouting. She pointed toward a nearby enemy stronghold. I ordered the army to advance. I deployed the Sky Knights to lead the charge for leveling. Under Shadow Knight Vivian's command, the Sky Knights tore through the basin. Players were shocked to see flying units instantly slaughtering enemies. They lamented the power gap between their own weak units and my elite forces. Empty, players followed me, scavenging the loot I deemed too trivial to collect. They happily picked up gold and gear left behind by the skeletons. Meanwhile, the Rose Guild debated retreating to the Evernight Forest. Members urged Xiqiangwei to abandon the dangerous area. Rose Guild members complained about the lack of monsters in the Death Basin, suggesting a return to the Evernight Forest. Xiqiangwei's expression darkened as her members grumbled about missing out on contribution points. Behind her mask, Xiqiangwei remained firm, telling her members not to waste time. She analyzed that the Death Basin must contain a boss. She speculated that even Night Demon might struggle against a boss, forcing him to seek their help. She hoped this would force Night Demon to join the Rose Guild. Her members were excited by the prospect of claiming the boss for themselves. Xiqiangwei felt smug, convinced that I was hunting for something I couldn't handle alone, like a boss or a special mechanism. My troops reached the stronghold Vivian had identified. The site featured an open-air altar surrounded by massive black pillars. Millions of poison cult believers, Tier 5, Level 15, poured out. I ordered my heroes to attack, and arrows rained down. The Sky Knights charged into the altar in a cyan blur. I entered the altar, noting millions of enemies, including 50,000 Tier 7 and 8 units. A tall figure stood in the center. I used Scout. The boss was a legendary grade, Tier 1, Level 20, with 100 million HP and 2.4 W attack. Players posted the boss's terrifying skills, including Poisonous Hand and Death Poison Mist, to the public chat. Players were shocked by the legendary boss status. Others calculated the impossibility of defeating a 100 million HP boss with standard units. Players urged Night Demon to retreat, fearing the boss was unbeatable. Even those who respected Night Demon's past feats doubted he could handle this one. I was disappointed by the boss's weak stats, identical to previous ones I had easily crushed. Suddenly, I noticed a massive influx of players, including Aoshi Guild and others, surrounding my position. Players speculated the guilds were there to block Night Demon's retreat. The crowd watched the tension unfold. I turned, amused by the gathering guilds. I realized I was surrounded by tens of millions of players, but remained unbothered. I signaled Vivian and Ina to hold their fire. Aoshi Wushuang stepped forward from the crowd. Aoshi Wushuang arrogantly claimed they were there to provide backup. He feigned support, promising to clear monsters and not ambush me. Author note: more chapters coming. Players were confused by Aoshi Wushuang's strange behavior. It was obvious the guilds weren't there to help. Observers realized the trap: let the boss weaken Night Demon, then strike. If Night Demon won, he would be exhausted and vulnerable to their combined assault. Players realized it was a calculated scheme to force Night Demon into a no-win situation. Aoshi Wushuang and the other guilds were confident their plan to kill Night Demon would succeed. Xiqiangwei faced pressure to either help Night Demon or join Aoshi. She chose to side with Night Demon and ordered the Rose Guild to prepare for war against Aoshi. I scoffed at the guilds, unimpressed by their millions of weak troops. I knew that without real strength, schemes were just jokes. I ordered Ina to advance and Vivian to handle the guild leaders. Ina led the elven sharpshooters forward, while Vivian used a gray mist to conceal the Sky Knights. Players watched in suspense, wondering if Night Demon would fall for the trap. Players watched as Ina and her elves entered the boss's aggro range, mourning the inevitable demise of Night Demon. Aoshi Wushuang watched with glee, convinced the legend was ending. Battle notification: the God-granted Viscount killed the enemy, granting all Legion units a wartime buff and plus 100 morale. The crowd froze. The boss, with 100 million HP, had vanished instantly. Players were stunned, questioning if it was a bug or a one-shot kill. Xiqiangwei of the Rose Guild stood frozen, her command to assist me still hanging in the air. She had been preparing to order her guild to help me. My strength was absurd. Aoshi Wushuang's smile stiffened, his arrogance wavering. When asked what to do, he blustered, confident I wouldn't dare attack a top guild leader. Attacking other lords triggers a red name status. Red name status carries severe penalties, losing 3 levels upon death and forfeiting 50% of territory resources. Aoshi Wushuang bet on my restraint. Suddenly, a blinding blue light erupted like a sun, followed by the roar of engines. A massive energy beam tore through the fog, shaking the earth. Vivian emerged, ordering the Sky Knights to strike. Ding. You killed player units, gaining 1,000 kill value. Amplified 10,000 times to 10 million. Ding. You killed player units, gaining 1,000 kill value. Amplified 10,000 times to 10 million. Ding. You killed players. Ding. You have entered a vendetta state for 24 hours. Death penalties are now severe. Ding. Vendetta duration extended to 48, then 72 hours, maximum reached. I didn't care about the red name status. I welcomed any who dared to challenge me. I noted that 8,000 Sky Knights had wiped out 1.6 million enemy units, gaining 16 billion kill value. I realized I had found the method to repair my Heart of Slaughter. I ordered Vivian and Ina to hunt them down until none remained. The heroes complied, and the Sky Knights charged into the enemy ranks like tigers among sheep. With my skill buffs, the Sky Knights gained devastating area of effect capabilities. Flame sharpshooters joined the fray, raining arrows down at incredible speed. Guild units fell in droves. Aoshi Wushuang was horrified, losing a fifth of his forces in under a minute. He couldn't fathom my audacity or lack of fear regarding retaliation. He ordered his ranged units to focus fire, relying on Aoshi Wushuang's top expert, Aoshi Wudi, and his 3,000 Tier 3 units. Aoshi Wudi commanded a volley, forming a net of arrows that struck a Sky Knight. Aoshi Wudi felt a surge of hope. Even Tier 5 units should fall to such concentrated fire. Instead, only metallic clinks echoed, -0-0-0. Aoshi Wudi was shattered. The Sky Knights ignored the pestering attacks, continuing their graceful, lethal dance. Despair gripped the guilds as they realized their attacks were useless. Panic ensued. Players fled to avoid the heavy death penalties. Within 30 minutes, the battlefield was empty of life. I noted the Heart of Slaughter's repair progress had exceeded 10%. With players being easier to farm than monsters, I approached the lone Aoshi Wushuang. Mocked by me, Wushuang threatened me with the power of his guild. I simply flicked my staff, unleashing a basic attack that instantly emptied Wushuang's health bar. Ding. You killed a player. You gained a title. The title, Hidden Unique, granted 100% increased damage against player units, a true PK artifact. The battle ended abruptly, leaving the guilds decimated. System notification, task requirements updated. 1. Good faction, Tier 1 City Lord, 1,000 plus troops. 2. Aoshi Wushuang and his dogs are banned. Players cheered my bold move against the arrogant guild. Vivian returned, reporting the loot left behind. While mostly common gear, it was valuable for the first day of the game. Other players watched greedily but dared not touch it. I dismissed the trash and ordered the remaining believers cleared. Vivian obeyed. I turned my attention to the Rose Guild. Surprised by Zi Qiangwei's support, I sent a friend request. I needed capable subordinates for the future, and she was a prime candidate. She accepted, and I sent a message. You'll thank me for this, Lin Ruoshui. Keep the loot. Zi Qiangwei was stunned. I knew her real name. She demanded answers, but I, finding her persistent messages annoying, blocked her. I preferred the quiet obedience of my heroes. Zi Qiangwei was livid. As a top beauty and guild leader, she wasn't used to being ignored. She watched me walk into the altar, fuming, before ordering her guild to collect the loot. She told her members to distribute the gear according to guild rules. I reached the altar and looted the boss, triggering a 10,000x amplification on several items. I examined the universal antidote. Mythical grade, grants 30 minutes of poison immunity to non-immortal units. This was incredibly valuable for the mid-game market. Many monsters and player units relied on poison. The amplification granted me 10,000 bottles. I then checked the mysterious letter. It was a high-level communication from the poison cult. With a 100% success rate from amplification, I opened it to reveal. The goddess descends soon. The Church of Light has raided our city. Watch for the paladins. My eyes narrowed. The goddess of poison was planning a descent. Gods rarely entered the main plane due to the risk of death. Divine descent was their preferred method. A descended god would possess at least legendary tier 9 or mythical strength. I decided to be cautious. Ina found a treasure chest at the altar. I opened it, triggering amplification to receive high-tier enchanting table and high-tier magic trap blueprints. These were rare and highly useful. Special buildings required blueprints to unlock. The enchanting table could buff gear up to epic grade. Legendary cards could provide massive stats or even new skills to entire unit types. The magic traps were perfect for territory defense, offering high concealment and explosive power. I used both blueprints immediately. Ding. You unlocked the highest tier enchanting table. Ding. You unlocked highest tier magic traps, fire, thunder, wind. The high tier enchanting table can enchant mythical gear, a rarity across the Lost Continent found only with the Dwarf King or Elf Queen. Each use costs over 100 million gold, making it prohibitive for most players, but not for me. I also unlocked various magic traps capable of handling massive, million-scale battles. System, you cleared a poison cult stronghold. Rewards, 5,000 contribution points, 13.52 M gold, 25.4 M wood, 12.3 M iron, 34.5 M stone, 5.03 M food. System, 10,000 times amplification triggered. Rewards, 50 M contribution points, 135.2 B gold, 254 B wood, 123 B iron, 345 B stone, 50.3 B food. System, your actions have reached the ears of the gods. You gained 100 reputation with Moon Dance Maiden Stephanie. System, 10,000 times amplification triggered. You gained 1 M reputation with Moon Dance Maiden Stephanie. I was stunned by the sheer volume of resources, hundreds of billions, gained from a single stronghold. Even in the late game, this haul could sustain a large guild for a significant period. Plunder remains the fastest way to wealth. With 50 million contribution points added, I considered this a massive victory. I felt annoyed that my hard work resulted in reputation gains for Stephanie. Despite my irritation, I realized the gods were now actively monitoring the situation. As the representative of the good faction, the god of light's every move draws global attention. The goddess of poison is surely aware of this holy war, and her allies and enemies will likely intervene. I wondered if I could manipulate these divine conflicts to my advantage. The stronghold was now devoid of life. I marched to the second stronghold. Players followed, learning to scavenge contribution points by finishing off fleeing enemies. I ignored the loot, letting players collect it, effectively turning them into my unpaid labor. The second stronghold, defended by only 50,000 low-tier troops, fell in under 5 minutes. I turned my attention to the final red dot on the map. The army moved out. As players leveled up, they began clearing nearby skeletons themselves. I stopped clearing minor mobs to save time, heading straight for the third stronghold, which was vastly larger than the others. The altar was covered in eerie, evil patterns. As they approached, a massive explosion rocked the area. A 10-meter-wide dark green pillar of light erupted into the sky. Ina expressed unease, prompting me to investigate. I hid my troops in shadow mist and observed 2 million tier 8 poison priests. This force was formidable, likely insurmountable for most players even a month from now. I ignored the troops, focusing on a 30-meter statue of the goddess of poison. The light pillar emanated from the statue's staff. A ritual was underway. I ordered an immediate assault. Arrows rained down, illuminating the altar with crimson flames. The Sky Knights charged, their mechanical hooves thundering. The long-distance charge maximized their damage, devastating the cultists. Suddenly, I felt a chilling, lethal energy strike me. A white, -0, popped up, indicating the attack failed to penetrate my defenses. I identified the attacker, a man in dark green robes wielding a terrifying staff. I used a scout spell. Description: one of the 12 priests of the poison cult, notorious across the continent with a 1,000,000-point bounty from the Church of Light. Grade: Legendary, Tier 2. Level: 160. HP: 25B. Attack: 125k. Defense: 53k. Skills: Poison Domain, High-Tier Teleport, High-Tier Stealth, Poison Immunity, Descent of God, Finger of Death. My heart skipped a beat. My intuition was correct. The man had used a high-damage skill against me. It was Andy, the Poison Saint, one of the 12 priests. Unlike fake, legendary powerhouses, Andy was a genuine, high-tier threat. With 25 billion HP and the lethal finger of death skill, Andy was a true boss. Andy's strategy was sound. Kill the Lord to shatter the army's morale. Normally, I would be dead, but my divine blessing nullified the damage. Andy sneered, mocking me for falling into his trap and claiming to be the bait. He then leaped into the light pillar, intending to sacrifice himself to strike at Stephanie through me. As the light pillar expanded, the energy surge began killing the surrounding cultists instantly. 2 million believers died instantly as a blood sacrifice, triggering a massive, terrifying aura that engulfed the death basin. A system alert echoed for every player. Ding! Due to unknown reasons, you have received a debuff. All units suffer minus 100% movement and attack speed. World announcement. A terrifying, powerful entity has descended. All players must evacuate immediately. The announcement repeated 3 times, freezing players in place with paralyzing fear. Many were forcibly logged off. In the Rose Guild, Zi Xiangwei struggled to overcome the overwhelming dread. A primal terror from the depths of her soul compelled her to kneel and submit. I, standing closest to the entity, felt the strongest pressure but remained unaffected due to my immunity to fear. I gazed solemnly at the 30-meter-tall manifestation of the Goddess of Poison. Description: Goddess of Poison, Divine Descent. Rank: Mythical, Tier 4. Stats: Unknown. Any deity possesses at least immortal-grade strength. Though weak among gods, her presence in the main plane was a dimension-crushing threat. Even as a descent, she held mythical Tier 4 power. As she opened her energy-constructed eyes, her gaze alone induced terror. The Goddess of Poison commanded, "Human, surrender Stephanie's divine power, and I shall spare you." I remained calm, unfazed by the pressure. Having witnessed the chaos of future divine wars, I knew how to handle her. I retorted, "Do you think you're strong, Doris?" The goddess laughed menacingly. "Human, you are courting death." I mocked, "Arrogant, you're just a stray dog chased by the good faction." I added sharply, "You think I don't know your divine kingdom is located at the Mirror Sea Rift?" The goddess froze in shock. Exposing a divine kingdom's location is a death sentence, as it allows other gods to attack. My announcement was intended for the dozen other deities watching. The Goddess of Poison was a hated, plague-spreading pariah. The Mirror Sea Rift is a vast cosmic plane composed of trillions of independent mirror spaces. This was the perfect hiding spot for her divine kingdom. Suddenly, a terrifying lightning bolt shattered a mirror space, followed by a massive red sword strike. Other gods, realizing my intel was accurate, launched a barrage of attacks. As her divine kingdom took damage, the Goddess of Poison's manifestation shrank rapidly, her rank dropping to legendary Tier 2. In 3 seconds, over 20 gods had attacked her kingdom. "Damn you, human! Pay the price," she roared, her staff glowing with dark green light. Skill: Divine Poison. Range: 20,000 yards. Effect: enemies lose 30% HP per second for 1 minute. Minimum 1 HP. I recognized the desperate, high-cost divine skill. I immediately activated my own gear's invincibility buffs for my Sky Knights and Priests. The Holy Shield successfully blocked the corrosive green venom. Though the skill was powerful, the goddess could not draw enough divine power in the main plane to overcome the holy protection. However, some flame sharpshooters were caught in the blast. Their HP dropped to 1, and I ordered them to retreat while I assessed the weakened goddess. Status: Epic Rank. Level 100. HP: 5 billion. Attack: 250k. Defense: 120k. Skills: High-level magic resistance, poison immunity, divine corrosion, etc. Players watching the stream were stunned by her 5 billion HP. They noted her 120k defense made her nearly untouchable by crown tier units. The chat erupted in debate over whether I could defeat a god. I saw my opening. Her divine kingdom's collapse had reduced her to epic rank. With her stats plummeting, 5 billion HP was no longer an insurmountable wall. I ordered, "Vivian, Ina, full attack." Vivian summoned Shadow Mist to cover the retreating elves and shield the Sky Knights. I relied on my invincible Sky Knights. Ina activated her skills, darkening the sky with a cold moon that boosted all troops' attack and defense by 100%. Under the moonlight, she danced invisibly, while I imbued the knight's spears with permanent fire damage. With these buffs, each Sky Knight's attack power reached a terrifying 37,000. Even divine units lacked such stats. The goddess of poison sensed the mounting threat. She frantically cast a barrage of high-level spells without chanting. The attacks proved useless against the holy shields. The goddess roared in frustration at the god of light. Vivian signaled the charge, and the mechanical warhorses roared to life. The Sky Knights blurred through the air, dealing massive damage to the goddess. Vivian commanded the charge perfectly at the 300-meter optimal distance. With maximized attack coefficients, 8,000 knights dealt nearly 6 billion damage, instantly emptying the goddess's health bar. The goddess was stunned. Her 100,000 plus defense should have been impenetrable to non-crown tier units. As her body shattered, the system notifications erupted. You killed the goddess of poison, plus 1 billion EXP, plus 10 hero skill points, plus 5 million contribution points. 10,000 times amplification triggered, plus 10 trillion EXP, plus 100,000 hero skill points, plus 50 billion contribution points. World announcement: Dragon Kingdom player Night Demon is the first to defeat a deity. Reward: Divine Title, plus 1 million prestige. 10,000 times amplification triggered. Reward: Divine Title, plus 10 billion prestige. Holy War announcement: God-granted viscount. All participants receive 10,000 Church of Light contribution points. Your feat is legendary. Good faction favor plus 20. Poison cult favor minus 200 permanently. Players were stunned, flooding the chat with disbelief and praise for Night Demon's one-shot kill, celebrating the massive contribution point reward. Those who skipped the quest were filled with regret. Ignoring the chatter, I heard a shocked, soft voice in my ear. You killed the goddess of poison? It was my nominal goddess, Stephanie. I rolled my eyes at her uselessness and asked about her status. Stephanie replied that the goddess of poison had abandoned her assault, allowing her to breathe. I noted that the goddess of poison was now severely crippled. Her divine kingdom was likely abandoned or under pursuit by other deities. She would undoubtedly face relentless hunting from other gods. I asked, "Can you contact your believers now?" Stephanie nodded. I immediately invited them to my territory, promising them food and safety. As her representative, I sought to leverage her devout, high-tier followers to cast powerful divine arts and build my own path to godhood. Their faith would make my future ascension significantly easier. Very well, she agreed. Stephanie hesitated, fearing she would be sidelined, but ultimately accepted. I was surprised by her easy compliance. I realized her favor toward me was higher than expected. I considered helping her grow stronger in return. After a brief exchange, Stephanie left to tend to her followers. I reviewed my spoils, amazed at killing a deity on the second day. Despite being weakened, she was still a god. The rewards were immense, including enough contribution points to reach count rank. Vivian reached level 40, requiring a breakthrough trial in the Shadow Realm, home to the immortal Shadow Dragon. I also received 100,000 hero skill points, essential for upgrading SSS rank heroes. I decided to max out their skills. Consumed 200 skill points. Shadow/upgraded to LV10. Consumed 200 skill points. Moon Dance upgraded to LV10. Consumed 400 skill points. Flame Dominator upgraded to LV10. Shadow/LV10 deals 100x magic damage to 10,000 enemies in a line, increasing damage taken by 50% for 3 minutes. Cost: 2,000 MP, 5-minute cooldown. Moon Dance LV10 deals 100x magic damage to 10,000 enemies, slowing them by 90% for 3 minutes. Cost: 2,000 MP, 5-minute cooldown. Flame Dominator LV10 permanent fire damage for specified units, toggleable. 100% chance for 2x damage explosion effect on 10 enemies within 200 yards. No cooldown, 10,000 MP cost. The upgrades significantly boosted damage and added powerful utility like damage amplification and slow effects. Flame Dominator's removal of cooldowns and 100% explosion rate made it a game-changing, qualitative leap for my army. I closed my skill panel and focused on the immortal grade gift box. Even I was shocked. In my past life, players had only ever seen mythical grade boxes. I hadn't expected the system to amplify a reward into an immortal grade item, a treasure that even the gods of the heavens would covet. Without hesitation, I opened it. A brilliant golden light descended from the sky, enveloping me. Ding! You have successfully opened the gift box, triggering the 10,000 times amplification system. You obtained Eye of the Ancient Evil God. Description: Legend says the creator god could not kill the 3 ancient evil gods, so he sealed them at the edge of the universe. This ring is crafted from the eye of one of those entities. Grade: Immortal Artifact, Tier 3. Type: Hero Equipment, Lord Only. Slot: Ring. Level: 30. Stats: plus 3,000 Intelligence, plus 3,000 Spirit. 2. Magic damage plus 100%. 3. Gaze of the Ancient Evil. The target's luck is reduced by 99,999 permanently until the caster is killed. Cost: 200 luck. Cooldown 1 day. 4. Curse of the Ancient Evil. The target's territory population cap is reduced by 99%, and unit morale is reduced by 99% permanently until the caster is killed. Cost: 1,000 luck. Cooldown 30 days. My eyes narrowed at the stats. The immortal artifact was absurdly powerful. The 3 ancient evil gods were primordial entities that shared the universe's lifespan. Tens of thousands of years ago, one escaped, leaving the gods of the good faction severely weakened. Even the mighty god of justice lost an arm. I realized this equipment was truly monstrous. With 3,000 intelligence and spirit, plus doubled magic damage, my offensive capabilities were maxed out. Combined with my system, even trash-tier units would become terrifying. The last 2 skills highlighted the true horror of the evil gods. Reducing a target's luck by 99,999 is catastrophic. Aside from the goddess of luck and me, no creature in the game has even 10,000 luck. This effectively forces a target's luck into deep negative values, inviting disaster. In my past life, a player who offended the goddess of misfortune lost only 1,000 luck. The result was total collapse. Heroes rebelled, troops were constantly injured, and evil factions raided his territory incessantly. Within a week, that player deleted his account. I was stunned by the second skill, minus 99% population cap and minus 99% morale. This renders a player unable to recruit troops, and any existing units would instantly lose all morale. In this game, morale below 30% causes units to rout. A victim of this skill is effectively finished unless they can kill me, an impossible task. Since the ring requires level 30, I stored it in my inventory. I turned my attention to the goddess of poison's corpse, hoping for loot from the world-first divine kill. Unfortunately, because the avatar was destroyed violently, the possessed believer, Andy, had died instantly. I couldn't loot Andy's body, but I gathered the scattered items. Ding! Triggered 10,000 times amplification. You obtained loot. After a few seconds, I checked my inventory, which was now overflowing with 10,000 times the original loot. Among the gear was a mythical tier 5 dagger I didn't need, but the next item caught my eye. Description: An altar used by the ancient arcane empire to enhance communication between believers and gods. Grade: Immortal Wonder. Effect: Increases faith value gained during prayer by 1,000%. It was a pre-built wonder, ready for immediate placement. Wonders are unique. Once built by a player, no one else can construct them. Even if a blueprint or item is found, it cannot be built unless the original is destroyed. The altar's 10x faith boost is massive, as faith is the primary currency for gods. The only downside was that Stephanie was currently too weak. If a powerful god obtained this, the balance of the lost continent would shift. I decided to build it in my territory. During my brief time with Stephanie, a bold plan had formed in my mind. My goal was to achieve godhood to survive the coming war of gods and demonic invasions. In my past life, humanity failed to produce a god and became playthings for the deities. I planned to make Stephanie my subordinate god. With my amplification, her faith would become mine. I wasn't working for her. I was aiming for her divine power. I stored the altar and collected 10,000 city relocation tokens. Description: a special token from the Church of the Goddess of Space, imbued with spatial power. Effect: relocate the entire territory to the current coordinates. Restrictions: 1. The destination must be large enough. 2. Limit of 1 use per player per month. The city relocation token is a strategic item. Large guilds use them to consolidate territories for defense. While rare now because the Goddess of Space is trapped in a secret realm, they will become cheap in 3 years. For now, they are worth 100,000 gold each, though money is no object to me. I then examined the final item. Description: a note containing the coordinates of floating island number 3. Effect: reveals the location of floating island number 3. A floating island. I was stunned. Legend says the creator god left 16 such islands behind, which are actually continents from another plane. They possess unique tech trees and can fly if powered. The lower the number, the larger the island. In my past life, a player used a token to move to the 13th floating island. It became a terrifying war fortress. Attacking it required rare flying units, and its defenses were nearly impenetrable. The world combined couldn't take it down. Floating island number 3 was thousands of times larger than the 13th, dozens of times larger than the entire Dragon Kingdom. I whispered, with this, even immortal grade gods wouldn't be a threat. I used the item without hesitation. Ding. The coordinates for floating island number 3 are 53,422, 64801. I frowned. The Furnace of Destruction was a dangerous place located beneath the river Styx. It was home to countless horrors, including immortal-grade entities like the God of Liches and the Demon King, along with max-level crown tier and legendary units. I set aside my thoughts on the territory's high attribute bonuses for now and turned my attention to the final loot, a pile of ink green, fingernail-sized crystals. Item: Divine Power Crystal, Grade 1, Small. Description: contains a vast amount of the Goddess of Poison's divine power. I was stunned by the system's 10,000 times amplification. These crystals could raise one's divine power level, but as a mortal, I couldn't absorb them. They had to be given to a deity, though Stephanie was unsuitable. The crystals were branded with the Goddess of Poison's mark, which had to be removed before use. Since it would take Stephanie over a century to cleanse them, I stored them in my bag. I then checked my troops. Thanks to Angel Shui, there were no permanent casualties. Any elven sharpshooters who fell during the retreat were instantly resurrected at full health and mana. As priests healed the remaining elves, a system notification chimed. Ding. You cleared a poison cult stronghold. Rewards: 5,000 contribution points, 35.82 M gold, 45.21 M wood, 25.7 M iron, 26.58 M stone, 35.67 M food, 1.02 M crystals. Ding. 10,000 times amplification triggered. Rewards: 50 M contribution points, 358.2 B gold, for 52.1 B wood, 257 B iron, 265.8 B stone, 356.7 B food, 10.2 B crystals. Ding. You have cleared the poison cult stronghold in the Death Basin. Your reputation has increased by 1,000. Ding. 10,000 times amplification triggered. Reputation increased by 10 M. Ding. Due to your high reputation, many NPCs wish to join your territory. Territory attraction plus 100. Ding. 10,000 times amplification triggered. Attraction plus 1 M. I was satisfied. The poison cult was incredibly wealthy. From 3 strongholds, I gained 756.2 B gold, 882 B wood, 652.7 B stone, for 58 B iron, for 32.8 B food, and 10.2 B crystals. These figures would shock the world. More importantly, the 1M attraction meant NPCs would now flock to my territory, providing a significant boost in combat-ready population. While players usually struggle to compete with ancient empires for NPC loyalty, my massive attraction changed the dynamic. I anticipated a large influx of NPCs moving into my divine realm. Since the game lacked ordinary civilians, every NPC was a soldier. With my endless food supply, they made perfect cannon fodder. Checking the rankings, Yi Mingzhu led with 10,000 kills. I expected the clearing to finish in an hour, then received a call notification. I removed my helmet and upon opening my door, found officials installing a high-end gaming pod. Thank you for your purchase. Here are 5 bottles of nutrient solution, enough for 3 months. I dismissed them, pleased that the pod would allow me to spend more time in-game. Feeling hungry, I went to a snack shop. The TV was broadcasting news about the Lord. Dragon Kingdom players killed a divine avatar, earning a mythical grade gift box. Other nations accuse Night Demon of cheating. Officials confirm the game's AI is self-running and no cheating occurred. Night Demon promises 10 million basic resources to the top-ranked player, shocking the nation. Yi Mingzhu leads the rankings as monsters in the Evernight Forest and Death Basin dwindle. The world was in an uproar, speculating about my identity. Footage of me humiliating Aoshi Wushuang was playing on loop. I watched idly until a new report appeared. Reliable sources say Eve, leader of Eden in the Eagle Kingdom, is preparing to raid an elite-grade secret realm. Eve, the top player on Blue Star, was a formidable rival in previous holy wars. Seeing her on screen, I smirked. In this life, she would be nothing compared to me. I returned to my pod, logged back in, and received a notification that the Holy War objective was complete. I was instructed to collect my reward at the City of Light. Players had cleared both maps in an hour, their efficiency boosted by my buffs. I issued the ranking rewards. Haha, I barely made 10th place, but I got 1,000,000 resources. Players celebrated their newfound wealth and pledged loyalty to Night Demon, though some lamented losing the top spot. Every participant received at least 10,000 contribution points. My reputation soared. However, the top-ranked player, a girl named Yi Mingzhu, was frowning. She hadn't received her reward. Was I playing her, or could I not afford the 10 million resources? A friend request notification appeared. She accepted, and my voice whispered, "Do you want revenge, Jiang Shui?" The girl's eyes widened. With the maps cleared, players began hunting for secret realms. I ignored the low-level ones, focusing on a level 20 supersized secret realm. But first, I had to deal with Yi Mingzhu. I waited until a slender figure approached me. It was Zi Qiangwei, looking furious. I asked, "What do you want?" She snapped, "Why did you block me?" I replied, "You were too noisy." Zi Qiangwei was stunned, her chest heaving with indignation. She tried to calm down, then held out her hand. "My reward." I blinked. "What reward?" "Our guild, Rose, killed over 100,000 monsters, 10 times more than Yi Mingzhu. We should be first." I stared at her in silence. I gave her a look of pure disdain, which only infuriated her further. "What is that look for?" I ignored the girl, turning my attention to a masked girl approaching with her battered troops. It was Yi Mingzhu. I asked directly, "What is your decision?" Yi Mingzhu took a deep breath and replied, "If you can fulfill your promise, I agree." I smiled. My first employee had arrived. I had promised to help her seek revenge in exchange for her total submission. After a moment of hesitation, she realized this was her only chance. She agreed, and the system prompted me to accept her as a vassal lord. I clicked agree. The system confirmed the permanent, unbreakable vassal agreement. A global announcement followed. I gained control over Yi Mingzhu's resources, troops, and construction rights. While I didn't need her resources, I coveted her S-grade talent, which increased population capacity by 500%. She was the perfect place to dump my excess fodder troops. I tossed her a city relocation token and ordered her to move her territory to my location. I sent her the coordinates. Yi Mingzhu agreed, accepting that she would receive resources only after the move. As she left, other players were stunned by the news. Players were shocked that Yi Mingzhu, a known powerhouse, had become a vassal. They wondered what I had done to force such a proud player into submission. Some speculated that their shared Yi surnames meant they had a prior connection. Zi Qiangwei was equally baffled by the sudden vassalage. She had repeatedly tried to recruit Yi Mingzhu into the Rose Guild, only to be rejected every time. As I prepared to march east, Zi Qiangwei stopped me. Knowing her place as a guild leader, she kept her inquiry professional. She proposed a partnership. They would clear a level 10 normal secret realm, splitting the rewards 50-50. "No time," I replied. I had no interest in low-level, low-reward content. However, I realized I could use the recruitment rights from such a dungeon to boost my fodder production in Yi Mingzhu's territory. I pulled out 2 vials. I offered the 2 vials in exchange for the Secret Realm's recruitment rights. Zi Qiangwei initially scoffed at the small items, but after using her detection spell, she immediately changed her tune, realizing their value, and agreed to the trade. After the deal, I led my troops toward the east. The destination was far, but my speed was unmatched. Aided by Shadow March, I arrived in 2 hours at a towering, snow-covered mountain. Normal players would have struggled with the cold and poor visibility. I, unaffected, located a crystalline portal hidden in the snow. I stopped, sensing danger. Camouflaged against the snow were countless white, lethal creatures. They were nearly invisible to the untrained eye. These lizard-like monsters possessed razor-sharp claws and teeth. I used my detection spell on the 2 largest specimens. They were Dragon Blood War Slaves, level 20 gold-grade guardians of the portal. With 70 million HP and high attack stats, they were formidable gold-grade bosses. I was surprised. I had only been a minor player during this event in my past life. Despite their strength, they were nothing to me. I signaled Ina to attack. In an instant, the monsters were obliterated. System notifications flooded in. The 10,000 times amplification system triggered, granting me massive experience. I collected the loot, 320,000 dragon blood crystals. I checked their stats. They were high-level materials. They could be consumed by dragons to restore health. More importantly, they were essential for dragon egg incubation. They accelerated hatching and increased success rates. I turned my attention to the portal. It led to the domain of the vanished frost dragons. It was a unique, level 20 dungeon with various difficulty settings. This was the Ice Dragon City, the first nightmare-grade secret realm humanity would face. Secret realms in the game are categorized by difficulty: normal, elite, heroic, nightmare, and doomsday. While public realms are repeatable, unique secret realms can only be entered once, offering richer rewards. I enter the Ice Dragon domain, selecting the highest difficulty, nightmare. Ding! You have selected nightmare difficulty. Up to 10,000 players may challenge this, each bringing 100,000 units. Confirm. Confirm. A multicolored light envelopes my troops. Ding! You have entered. Ding! Affected by unknown forces. All monster attributes increased by 50%. Your troops' attributes reduced by 50%. Ding! Time limit: 23 hours and 59 minutes. Ding! Objective: eliminate all monsters. Nightmare difficulty usually requires a massive coalition of 10,000 players and 1 billion troops. For a solo player, it seems impossible. I observe the snowy, freezing landscape, identical to my past life. I know that beneath the calm snow hide countless frost dragons. These dragons blend into the ice, having ambushed many players in my previous life. Many players failed because they lacked ranged units. I ignore the 7th tier, level 30 Dragon Blood War Slaves, whose gold tier gear is useless against me. My archers instantly wipe them out. Suddenly, a massive dragon appears. The dragon charges, its scales reflecting cold light, jaws bared. I use Scout. Target: Juvenile Frost Dragon, Berserk. Level: 20. Rank: Gold. HP: 140 million. Attack: 45,000. Defense: 750. Despite the debuff, the dragon's stats are overwhelming for current players. However, my archers focus fire, piercing its scales and emptying its 140 million HP instantly. Ding! You killed the frost dragon, gaining 400,000 EXP. 10,000 times amplification triggered, for billion EXP gained. You receive 40 million. Ding! Task progress updated. EXP cap reached. The massive dragon crashes to the ground. This is why I came to the Ice Dragon domain. Beyond the fodder, the frost dragons are all gold tier bosses. With over 2,000 frost dragons and several epic tier 1s, I can easily complete my tasks. I command: split up and clear the area. Vivian and Ina lead their troops to hunt the red dots on the map. Clearing the map is straightforward, but I seek the hidden content. In my past life, the Warsoul Guild took the first clear rewards, but a later player triggered a unique hidden plot, becoming a top-tier player in the Dragon Kingdom. This also triggered a new version update. The book launches today after 9 days of writing. The author thanks readers for their support. Sleep deprivation has led to some errors. The author apologizes and has corrected the issues pointed out by readers. The author is from a small, rural county. He works a repetitive factory job. He was content living a flat-lying life. However, his girlfriend of several years dumped him last month because he lacked a house and a car. She mocked his factory job, asking if he could ever afford a home. It was a cliché, painful reality. He couldn't afford the 4,000/SQM housing prices. Refusing to burden his parents, he turned to writing on Feilu. He hopes for a strong first-day subscription to secure recommendations and potential success. Despite poor initial data, he remains committed. He will finish the story, if only to prove his worth. He dreams of throwing a property deed in his ex's face. Launching at midnight. 10 chapters guaranteed. If over 300 subscriptions are reached, he will add 5 more chapters. Thank you all for your support. I planned a steady advance, as there was plenty of time before the secret realm closed. World announcement. A player has become the world's first Tier 2 Lord. Reward: 5,000 gold coins and 100 prestige. Triggering the 10,000 times amplification, I received 50 million gold coins and 1 million prestige.